2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com every Tuesday night, chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions. Tonight's show, Carolina subs a dub for a dub, and the flailing Falcons could make it a streak. That's right. The Panthers have pulled off their second win in a row, and the Falcons have fallen to 0-4. We've got a great show tonight where we're going to be looking back a little bit at Carolina's success and ahead towards potentially more success. And I'm going to do it with my homeboys tonight. Cody Lashney in the house. Welcome back to the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Tony Dunn, people thought I was running. I never run, man. I've never been able to run my whole life, so I'm not going to start now. But you know what? Here I am on a Tuesday night with my boys. Nothing else I'd rather be doing than chatting about the Panthers with the most lit Panther fans in all of YouTube, Tony. We got 10 Tizzy, the man that was here, Underground West, Little Country Cannabis, Joe Riolano in the chat, Trill One, C, Blake Bettis, Lynn, Leon Hart, what's up? Haven't seen you in a long time, Lynn. Happy to have you back on the show. Tony, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's talk Panthers football. Let's roll.
The Panthers have done something twice in a week that the Falcons have done 4 times in a season, and that is win football games. We're going to try to figure out how the Falcons are so bad tonight. Special guest coming in at 9:15. Tori, and I'm going to have to apologize ahead of time. So the name could be Tori McElhaney. That's how a Southerner would say it. But it could also be Tori McElhaney, like a Irish person would say it. So we'll be
what I would say, McElhaney.
McElhaney, yeah. Well, hopefully she can clarify that for us and obviously be forgiving for our country status, especially since she's covering a team that hasn't won anything, and I'm relishing in that fact myself. So the Panthers, again, pull ahead to 2-2. Now we're at 500. We're in second place in the division. We want to know about your thoughts about this season, the progress so far, and what the outlook is for the Carolina Panthers. You can be part of the show by calling into the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. CK, my man, Code Dizzle, what's up? How you doing tonight?
Man, living the dream. I have a lot of things to talk about, and definitely looking forward to our guest coming on to kind of break down what we think about the Falcons and in this upcoming matchup. But all in all, man, it's just good to be here with you guys, and we got the full squad here tonight. So let's keep that energy up, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're rolling right now. The Panthers, again, have won 2 in a row. And like Robbie Anderson, I feel like the audio might be working in the chat room. And I feel like if I was Robbie Anderson, I'd be like, wow. Did you guys see Robbie Anderson when they were singing Sweet Caroline?
He was like, oh, God, get me out of here.
His head is
like a deer in headlights.
It looked like a deer in headlights. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know what song he wouldn't be a deer in headlights to?
Raise
up.
Up.
Raise up. Dude,
that woman, I'm telling you, we need to get her on the podcast and explain herself, because she was being an absolute asshole to you, Tony.
Oh, what's her name for the something quick? She is, gosh, what is it? She's been around for a while. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little. Greg in the house. Greg, man of many podcasts, the Bat Daddy. Good to have you back on the show.
Thanks, man. Sorry I couldn't be here Sunday. Wife's birthday. Kind of takes precedence.
Jeez, damn. Wives. I had my wife's birthday was this weekend as well. My wife's birthday is October 1st, and we had a party here on Saturday night, which made the post game long and yeah. I was struggling to find some excitement, but welcome back. All right, guys, we want to go ahead and encourage you to smash the thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. Be a part of the show by being involved in the chat. We got the most lit chat room, like Cody said, and also you can call into the show 252-228-5098. The Panthers pull out their second win. I've said it like 9 times. It feels so good to say it. I got to say that. It feels good to say they got wins. Panthers win 31-21, and a really balanced game, top to bottom. G. Cavassier called in over the post game. I like that description right there. The Panthers, well coached, well executed. The offensive line was great. The defense played better than they did last week. Cody, this team has become something to cheer for.
Yeah, we're on the streak. We're on the streak. 2 in a row.
No, we need one more. It's not a streak till we get to 3.
Says who? Who
Me.
made the
I think a streak is 2 is like kind of rolling a little bit. 3's a streak.
I mean, yeah. Listen. I think that we've hit the 2 games where we needed to have a get right game to save our season. And if we weren't gonna beat the Chargers or the Cardinals, then it was gonna get bad really fast. But to this team's credit, and I give a lot of credit to the coaching staff on this, and we'll break down and spotlight some of the players that we felt did really good this Sunday. But I feel like our coaching staff has really gotten the hang of what plays benefit them best on offense and defense, and they found their rhythm. They found a rhythm that they were close to having in weeks 1 and 2. They almost held on to in those games. Now they figured it out. Now we're winning those games that maybe we would have some dumb luck and all of a sudden we're the cardiac cats again and they're coming back and beating us. It seems as though Joe Brady has really figured out how best to get our weapons in space for Teddy Bridgewater to be able to distribute the football. And listen, I said before the season, at best, we're hoping that Teddy Bridgewater is a Jimmy Garoppolo caliber quarterback. And I thought that was a good comparison at the time because it's the highest level of a game manager quarterback that you can have. And even though the 49ers didn't win, that is a recipe for winning the Super Bowl and going all the way. Teams have done it before. So right now, Teddy Bridgewater is doing just that. I take nothing away from him. I give him the credit for doing that. I think Joe Brady has this offense humming in a way that we really hoped for prior to the season.
Well, the offense wasn't even – it's not really even humming, to be honest. It's just working in different components and more capacities, right? Is like, number one, you continue to run the ball effectively. Number two, you saw Teddy Bridgewater kind of put it together this week, and that was to no turnovers. Well, I think he might have had 1 turnover, but still, he found the difference between this week and last week was we got in the end zone. That's that's the big difference. And so on the offensive side, on the defensive side, this team played well, man. You contained a very dynamic passer in Kyler Murray, as well as you have some weapons. Now, while DeAndre Hopkins was, dinged up a bit, at the same time, you got Rasul Douglas following him around and limiting him to under 60 yards on the day, right? This Panthers team played good on all three sides of the ball, special teams, offense, and defense. And you have to highlight the fact that the offensive line did not give up a sack this week. Very impressive. Yeah. Greg Little, the toast of the town, really, a game trying to flip the script, and I think that might be the story of the week.
It might be. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, man, because that's one of those things that, as an evaluator, someone that tries to evaluate college talent, it's an anomaly. Like, how did all of a sudden Greg Little, literally last week we were criticizing him, and rightfully so, for his performances against the Chargers and the Cardinals. I mean, even though we not the Cardinals.
No, just the Chargers. It was that one game, and we had these two snaps on film, but he comes out with a week of preparation, and maybe this just tells you this is why you have to play the games.
Yeah,
right?
maybe
it's not something.
I think it was more preparation that definitely benefited them. But, man, it's like he took an even bigger jump than that. Like, when you look at the two.
He got angry on the field. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to push people around. And it was an important step, I feel like. One that made me feel good about not all of a sudden he's just going to take over, but talk about responding, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great way to respond. These past two games have really shown me the resolve of the football team, that they're willing to keep fighting, to keep pounding, to put in the energy not the energy. I mean, of course they have the energy, but they have a game plan that they feel like they're comfortable executing, and they've really been able to do that well. Like I said, I do want to see more aggression on offense. I want to see more of the deep down the field attacks earlier on in the football game.
You can't see it because they're not going to happen. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that is that the ability to be zinging it down the field is limited. You're going to see some play action in this. You're going to see a lot of underneath stuff. The fact that we have a player in Robbie Anderson who is most suited to go deep, and he has become a possession receiver in so many ways, I think shows that. But maybe that's just what it is. I'm going to turn the mic over to CK real quick. A couple of days removed from the post-game show. Thoughts with just a couple of days later. And then we'll play a little audio and get to our guest.
Yeah. Just going back over what we saw on Sunday, looking at the highlights, looking at what people, in the mainstream media are saying about the Panthers. I said it Sunday, and I will echo that sentiment. We've had questions about Matt Rule, but I have not lost faith in him this entire time. And I think this past Sunday, me and Tony were talking about it. This team does not look like they're too big or too small for the stage. That the stage is too big. They look like they're showing up and they're fighting not only just to win, they're fighting for each other. And you could sit here and talk about every team is supposed to block for their teammates down the field, but how often have we seen wide receivers just bump into somebody and then just think that's going to be good enough and not do anything? We saw Curtis Samuel down the field engaging with 2 to 3 different people at one time to try to get just even a matter of 2 or 3 different extra yards for Mike Davis or anybody. The team is getting better. And when you look at what they're doing and the fact that they are adopting the mentality of a tough-ass football team, you can't help but put that on coaching. What have we complained about for the past 5 years with Ron Rivera and that entire organization. They would not play and give opportunities to people to do something. We have seen nothing but that happen this year. We have all of our rookies starting for the most part. We have Greg Little in there being put in the forefront of people to be able to actually, show what he's got. They're trying to get the hands into Ian Thomas's hands, even if he does drop a ball every now and again. They're trying to put these people in a good spot to succeed, and we haven't had that. And what's happening is these guys are getting confident, and you're seeing it with Chen. You're seeing it with some good plays by Pride. And we'll talk about the Hurney thing, but you've got to look at this draft and realize we have not only do we have Derek Brown, who is now leading all rookies in tackles for losses, but he's also fourth in the NFL for tackles for losses. He is the highest ranked rookie on PFF, whether that you take that credence for that or not. We have Jeremy Chin, who is leading the team in tackles, leading all rookies in tackles. We have Yetur Gross-Matos, who is just getting past. I mean, he is showing a lot of promise there in the defensive pass rush. And then Pride, he's made some plays. He's not great. He's not sitting there a game changer, but these guys are contributing. And we have not had a draft class do that to this effect in a long time.
The team looks prepared. And to look at this, we're gonna be bringing in our guests right now. Guys, the team looks prepared is what I would say when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. And while we can discuss kind of the minor aspects about individual decisions, play calling, whatever that we can go down the line with, is the team does look organized and in control, and knowledgeable about what's going on, and that's impressive. So we're going to bring in also, don't forget, you can call into the C3 Panthers podcast. Numbers 252-228-5098. We want you to be part of the show. We've got our featured guest for tonight when we're looking ahead to the team, and you're going to have to forgive us on, look, first I'm from Winterville, and I've been trying to prepare for pronouncing your last name, and I don't want to say it like a Southerner, and I don't know if it's Irish. So my initial idea was Tori McElhaney, but that doesn't sound right. I feel like it's more Irish than that.
Yeah, it's a Tori McElhaney.
See? Oh, that's what my buddy was telling me at the bar. All right, let me see. Your audio is way low. Let me see. Hold on. What is going on? I'm going to have to find out. Your audio is a bit low.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. Let me take my headphones out. Can you hear me a little better now?
Perfect. All right.
Good. Okay.
All right. So, beat writer for the Falcons with The Athletic. Big fan of The Athletic. A subscriber myself. My question to you tonight is this: how are the Falcons this bad? I hate the Falcons more than anything. I do. They're my most rivaled team, and it's almost to the point I feel almost sympathy. It's so bad. How are they this bad?
The thing is they shouldn't be this bad. When you have the talent that they have on their team, especially on offense, you would think that they would be able to win games and they wouldn't be at 0-4 to start the season. But here we are. They just can't figure out how to play 4 quarters of consistent football, and that's really what it comes down to.
Cody, go ahead and take the next question.
Hi, Tori. So, listen, I have a lot of friends who are fans of the Atlanta Falcons from the Atlanta area. And, man, I'll be darned if they aren't already talking about Trevor Lawrence. And I don't want to make this a discussion about Trevor, but I guess to that notion is how many games do you think the Atlanta Falcons are good for winning this year? Is there legitimate talks that, after starting 0-4, this team could be picking in the top 3 or top 5? Or is it possible that they could do kind of like they did last year and find a rhythm late or maybe even mid-season and then pick up a few good wins down the stretch? What's reasonable for this Falcons team, do you think?
I think how I started off the season thinking, I thought that they would probably be close to where they were last year. So 7-9 was where I thought that they would get. And there were some people that are like, oh no, they'll get over 500. No big deal. That was a pretty low prediction. Now looking at where they are now with this 0-4 start, I'm like, well, it's not that far off. But I do think that they will eventually go on a run. Will it be in the next 5 games? I'm not sure. I do think that it's probable that they could kind of turn it on and turn a corner here, especially knowing that they're essentially playing for Dan Quinn's job security. And so, I mean, when you look at it like that, you would think that they would be able to turn it on a little bit going into this next section of games. And there are some winnable games in their next 5-game slot until the bye week. So we'll see. I still kind of stick with that 7-9 prediction, but I mean, I don't know. I've seen nothing so far this year that really gives me a lot of confidence in them right now. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, to that notion about Dan, do you feel at any point, because again, we're having a similar conversation from last year to this year, do you feel, or is there any indication that Dan Quinn has lost this locker room, that maybe they don't believe in his vision for the football team and they're underperforming because of it?
I don't know if it's reached the locker room. I think it's very much a situation where the fan base is tired of it. The fan base is done. I've said this multiple times, but I'll say it again. It's like the Falcons Twitter is a very, very dark corner of Twitter right now. So it's not a good place to be, especially if you're a Dan Quinn, because I know that after they lost to Dallas, there were a few Fire Dan Quinn petitions that were going around on change.org. So that was, I mean, it's a rough place to be if you're the head coach of an 0-4 team that also did something similar to this last year where they didn't start out well at all. So I don't know if Dan Quinn has lost the locker room. Every conversation that I've had with players, they kind of point the finger at themselves and they're like, we need to perform better for him. And it's a situation where they take a lot of responsibility for how this season has gone thus far. So I wouldn't say that he's lost the locker room. Honestly, I think there's just a lot of pointing fingers individually at the players themselves.
I think I was reading in your story on The Athletic, you mentioned the players pointing the fingers at themselves. One of my favorite players, Todd Gurley, he's from North Carolina, Tarboro area. It's about 20 minutes from where I live at, so we've always been cheering for him. He said that at the end of the day, or I felt like he was saying, this comes to us performing on the field. Why are they not performing? Where is the real weakness? I know there's been so many injuries on that defense in the secondary, but now the offense doesn't seem to be clicking. And why can't you guys do my man Todd Gurley a solid and get him involved in the game?
It's a great question. And I think that's something that the Falcons themselves are trying to figure out. I mean, I feel like if I had the answer to that, I could be their offensive coordinator, but I don't. And I don't think, sometimes I don't know if Dirk Cutter even knows what he really wants to do with this offense. So especially when you look at the way that the offense is so hot and cold sometimes. They literally will go and have a great quarter, and then they won't even move the ball for the next quarter. It's a very frustrating thing to see from this offense that has, like I was saying before, so many different weapons at its disposal. And it's very frustrating to see that they can't do what they're paying all of these offensive players to do, which is score touchdowns. It's really, the Falcons' issue is really not that complicated. Their defense is allowing too many touchdowns. Their offense isn't scoring in the red zone. I mean, it's very, very simple concepts that we're talking about here that the Falcons aren't doing right now.
Well, good news is this, or the world is getting back to normal maybe, because Julio is not getting touchdowns again. It's the law of the universe. He's always put up 1 billion yards, but he hasn't gotten touchdowns. Now he's not even putting up yards because he's dealing with injuries. Could you tell us a little bit about Julio's injury with the hamstring? Comes out after the first half of the game. Calvin Ridley doesn't get any catches. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that has to do with injury. But can you just tell us about the injury status for Julio, A, and B, the rest of the team as the Panthers prepare for them?
So starting with Julio, he'll be somebody to watch as this week goes on. Just from the way that Dan Quinn was talking today when we were chatting with him earlier, it kind of seems like they're just going to take it into the week and just kind of – I would imagine that Julio will probably be a game-time decision on Sunday the same way he's been the last 2 weeks because, I mean, with these hamstring injuries, they're so pesky and you sometimes never know. Sometimes it's a very day-to-day type of injury. Some days you feel really good and some days it turns on you and you can't go. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen with Julio. I would imagine they're probably going to rest him for a couple days this week and then, like I said, try and get him to go on Sunday. But who knows? I mean, he said that we talked to him before last night's game. I think it was on Friday was when we talked to him, and he was like, yeah, I'm feeling good, but you just never know. I don't really feel 100%. But he went out and he played, but as we all know, he didn't finish the game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. As far as the rest of the team goes, especially that secondary, it's not good. It's just not good for that secondary. DeMonte Casey, he tore his Achilles last night, and that is now Ricardo Allen tore his in 2018. Keanu Neal tore his in 2019, and now Casey has torn his in 2020. That's their 3 starting safeties because they do play 3 safety sets. So that's not good when you have 3 safeties in 3 consecutive years go out with torn Achilles. That's a pretty significant hit. And then you have a bunch of other DBs that are out too. I don't know when AJ Terrell is going to come off the COVID-19 list. I don't know to a certain extent when Ricardo Allen or Keanu Neal are going to come back. Keanu Neal is working through a hamstring issue. Darquez Dennard, he has been put on the IR for a hamstring issue. There is a lot going on in that secondary, and a lot of it's not good.
I'm going to turn the mic over to the fellas for the final questions. Go ahead and jump in there, guys.
Well, if I can jump in here real quick with that one. To that end, Tori, if you would have asked me a few weeks ago what I thought the outcome of this game between the Carolina Panthers and the Falcons would be, I mean, I would have said that, there's a chance that the Falcons put up 40 on us just because we have so much new as a team this year for the Panthers with a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, really new everything. We're a team that's rebuilding from the ground up, essentially, with a brand new quarterback. But now going into this game, after not having won a single game, and then you look at a team like the Panthers, we've won 2 in a row. We're feeling pretty good about ourselves. Is this a do-or-die game? I mean, I know it's a do-or-die game, but how does Atlanta feel about their chances against Carolina? And what matchups do you think they might look to take advantage of this Sunday?
So I think just starting with looking at Atlanta and them coming into this game, it is a do-or-die game. It is a situation where they have to win on Sunday if Dan Quinn wants to keep his job. The Falcons are playing on Sunday for his job. And I know that, there was some conversation last week that they were playing for his job Monday, but I never really thought that they would make a move after the Packers game on Monday because you are on a short week because of what Carolina is doing, because they're kind of on a roll. That's a hard situation to put an interim coach into in a situation like this. So I think that the Falcons have to go into this very gosh, I mean, they have to win if Dan Quinn wants to keep his job. I don't know. That's just what has to happen. And I mean, in terms of matchups, it's really hard to say right now because I don't know who's going to be able to go on Sunday. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know if Julio's going to be at 100%. I don't know if Calvin Ridley is going to be able to, he was targeted 5 times and didn't have a single catch on Monday. I don't know what they're going to do there. I don't know if Tack McKinley, who's one of their defensive ends, I don't know if he's going to be available. I know a lot of these DBs aren't available. So it's I don't even know what matchups I could say oh yeah, the Falcons are really going to key in on this because I think they still don't know what their depth looks like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If I had to interject, I'd say the biggest matchup is going to be what has been our Achilles heel against the Falcons the last couple of years. And that is, it's going to be Calvin Ridley on Jackson. And whether Jackson can contain Calvin Ridley, because if Julio is out, I think that's going to be a pretty big statement that, our starting cornerback, our number one cornerback, and who, by the way, was never going to cover Julio, right? We already know that. He was not,
that would have been Rasul.
Yeah, it was not going to be him. So I think that matchup is going to be one to track. But, at the end of the day, I guess my question is going to be, last year we constantly, up until Ron Rivera was fired, we always had the conversation. Is it coaching or is it players? And we came to the conclusion a lot of what we saw last year was really down to coaching. Whether these are professional football players, and yes, they can make mistakes, but as a whole, if the entire unit is not performing, which injuries can definitely be impactful there, but we noticed that, you're not going to have an entire team just not performing because they're all just bad, right? You're going to have coaching be an impact. And so we came to the conclusion that it was Rivera, and now Rivera is gone. Do you guys feel as though this start and the fact that there is a bit of a pattern with the way the Falcons have been losing, which is going up and then blowing the lead, and then all of a sudden now they're 0-4. I really thought they were going to have a turnaround game against Green Bay that didn't happen. Do you feel like it's all coaching, or do you feel like it has more to do with the players and the injuries that are being, impactful to you guys?
That's a great question, and I think that's something that a lot of us are thinking right now. And I know that it's interesting because I think if you ask the fan base that question, they put all of the blame on the coaching. I think if you ask the players that question, they put all the blame on themselves. Yeah. And for me personally, the biggest issue for the Falcons it's twofold. They are not finishing anything. They're not finishing drives. They're not finishing on defense. They're not finishing games. That's issue number one. And then number two, they're not making the most of any of the opportunities that opponents are placing at their feet. And in certain situations, it's like, how much of that can you take until like you kind of crumble? And how I hate to be like, yeah, no, it's 100% coaching or it's 100% injuries. I don't know if it's 100%. Yeah, right. It's never going to be one or the other. It's always going to be a combination of everything. But it does call into question, like, how is this coaching staff motivating these guys? Like, motivation is a huge thing. We talk about, I mean, these are competitors. They want to win. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty and you get down into the last few minutes of the fourth quarter and your opponent has mounted a comeback, and you kind of just like fall to the wayside. I mean, how much is that is on not just your internal motivation and how you as a competitor get up for yourself and for the game, but also how does this coaching staff motivate these players in the scope of these moments? So I mean,
tell her the stat, Cody. Cody, tell her the stat about the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so I had read that no other team in NFL history had lost as many fourth quarter, like 15-plus point leads than the Falcons did in 2 consecutive weeks in a row. It had never happened. I believe I'm getting this right. Take it up with Field Yates on Twitter if this isn't correct. But yeah, that's man. How do you, especially as someone who writes for The Athletic, and when you interact with fans, how do you talk about the choking aspect? Because it's not we're Panther fans, okay? So it's like, I mean, well, listen, it's like we're Panther fans, so of course we love nothing more than to remind all the Falcons and the Falcons fans how much they choke, right? But now when you're trying to be a legitimate journalist, creating content about this Falcons team, how do you touch on the fact that this same thing keeps on happening to Atlanta?
This is the question of the night right here.
Oh, I haven't asked. Yeah.
It's really tough because it's the same conversation over and over and over again. And the whole point of getting into sports journalism.
Choking a lot.
Yeah. The whole point of getting into journalism is that I'm getting to cover games that are all different from one another. That's the whole point. Like right. you going into quote unquote the office, which is going into a game or going into a practice, you're going into it thinking like things are going to be different, but it's the same issues time and time again that the Falcons are having to work through or figure out, or just kind of at the end of every game, it's like, we didn't do this and we didn't do this and we need to be better about this. And it's like, okay, that's all well and good, but like, can you actually do it now? Like, please, because I'm tired of writing the same things over and over. Like, I'm tired of having a connection in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Right. I know you have to have seen those charts by now. That's like the Falcons' percentage chance of winning as the game goes on. Yeah. And like right up into the fourth quarter, it's at 99.5%. And then it just falls off.
That's right. Take that bet.
It's I don't envy you being in that situation. I say that sincerely.
Similar to we weren't envied being in our position last year too, though. So.
Yeah, trust me, we know bad times too.
Well, Tori, hey, this is Greg. I got a couple questions for you, and just touching on some of the stuff they were saying there. To me, it feels like what we're talking about here is the Falcons look like the Cowboys on paper. They should be amazing, and I feel like their offense is. And it's funny enough, they played the Cowboys and they had that game that was basically identical halves, just for opposite teams. Yeah. So I feel like their offense is there, and I feel like they're on the precipice of being a great team. It's the defense they need to focus on. Now, you had 6 draft picks this year. You focused 3 of them on defensive players, and one of them you don't have right now, or a few of them you don't have right now, which I understand. Do you feel like if your defensive players would have stepped up that you drafted, you would be right there? Like you would be a team that was competitive? Because I feel like the defense is the only thing holding y'all back right now. And 2, if this is a moment where you feel like you need to rebuild, 0-6, 0-7, do you start shopping Julio?
Yes. Okay. I think you do. I mean, I don't have any like concrete evidence to like back that up, but like if you want to start a rebuild, like, yeah, people love Julio here, and this isn't me saying that this is like what the Falcons are doing. I don't know, like, right. But sure, why not? You literally got nothing to lose if you're 0-7. Like, try anything work at that point.
But yeah, sorry to interrupt, but weren't you 0-6 last year? And I think you were you started 0-6 because I think I texted a friend laughing at him because he's a Falcons fan, and then y'all turned it around and y'all ended up like 7-9, so better than us. So I can't remember, but either way, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Sorry.
I think it's just like a situation where it's like that's not acceptable anymore. Like it happened last year, and they put up with it, and they saw that it turned things got turned around in the second half of the season, and that's all well and good. But like, they're tired of it. They don't want the same thing happening again, as we were just talking about. It's the same conversation over and over. It's become the narrative of the Falcons. Like, so, I mean, if they could turn around, like I said, these next 5 games are definitely winnable. But I mean, the way the defense is playing right now, and this goes back to your first question, the way the defense is playing right now, it does make you think, like, okay, how can the defense help the offense? And it does go back to kind of like draftable guys and making sure that cap looks a little more even than what it is right now.
Yeah. Well, I think if your defense was on par, you'd be at least 2-2 right now, to be truly honest with you.
The reason that the Falcons should be 2-2, period. Like they should be 2-2 because those 2 games in which they had opponents where they literally had Dallas and Chicago in consecutive weeks mount 2 of the most historic comebacks. Like you have to win those games. You just have to. And it's really sad when you don't.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, I think the biggest nail in the coffin for Dan Quinn is the exact same nail in the coffin that you saw with Rivera. And that is their defensive minded head coaches who have a very bad defense. I wouldn't say very bad for you guys. I know for ours.
Theirs is terrible. Don't worry. You don't got to feel bad saying it. It's awful.
But, nonetheless, I think that when you have that, you brought Dan Quinn over from Seattle because he showed that he could make a defense look phenomenal. And he came to, Atlanta, and I think he did a good job. He never got to the same level, obviously, because it's going to be hard to mimic anything he did in Seattle there with the, with their crazy defense they had that year. But you've just constantly seen, I feel like, a downward spiral with the defense. And anytime you see just constant, I guess, depreciation, if you will, in the quality of the defense when you're a defensive-minded head coach, you hired him because you had a good offense. You didn't need the help there. You still don't need the help there. Why is the defense not performing yet? I think that's the biggest hurdle for them right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right, Tori, wonderful thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Tell them where they can find your work on The Athletic. I'm a subscriber. I will admit I still take advantage of the student discount because I have an EDU email address. But go ahead and tell them how they can find your work.
Yeah, you can just find, I cover the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, this is what we've been talking about for the last 30 minutes, but I just go to The Athletic, and you can either go to the Falcons page or the Atlanta City page or even the NFL page, and you can find me there. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at Tori_McElhaney. And yeah, looking forward to Sunday.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. You guys go ahead and check out The Athletic. It's great for long-form content. And not even long-form content, just what we're trying to do, which is follow, individual storylines. Each week I get to go and look up, the opposing team and our team and see, people that are covering it closely. All right, now that we've had Tori on the show, guys, thoughts going into this week. The Panthers played a fantastic game. We're going to get to the cat calls in just a second, but to me, the Falcons sound vulnerable.
100%.
And the Panthers seem to be maybe a team that could be a story.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Falcons are vulnerable, but I also know our weakness is our secondary and our middle. If there is one thing that is going to have an opportunity to succeed here, and that is their offense, because they are led by as much as people want to shit on Matt Ryan, he is a very good quarterback, and he has proven that every year with his statistics. The problem is when it comes down to the bottom line, a lot of times fourth quarter, there are just some horrible, horrible mistakes. And hopefully we can take advantage of that. But if right now, when we go up against experienced quarterbacks, they have absolutely taken advantage of what our defense is, and that's a young, inexperienced defense. So we'll see what happens this week. I'm not going to write it off as a victory just yet. I think it is going to be a victory.
I think we're underdogs, to be honest. I bet you if I pull up the line right now, we're on the road. The fact is that this team does have offensive firepower.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And where is the Panthers', I guess, ultimate liability? We have thought, or at least we initially thought, it was in the secondary. Julio being hurt is wonderful news for us, though.
For a match.
Think about this. And to be honest, Rasul Douglas followed DeAndre Hopkins around all last week, limited to him to under 60 yards. He did have 7 catches, but was not able to really – their passing game was ineffective. Their entire offense was ineffective. The Panthers' defense was phenomenal in that case. So if Julio's out, all of a sudden you're starting to talk about a hobbled Falcons offense, and certainly one where their defense has a lot of these pores. You got to wonder if this is the game they just say it's time to feed Todd Gurley.
I was about to add on to that. We have to do and continue to do a good job stopping the run. I feel like we've definitely done better at it. As we've played, we did well against the Chargers. We've done well against the Cardinals. Derek Brown has really turned it on, and he's been that monster in the middle that we wanted him to be. I mean, now you're really seeing that grown man strength out of Derek Brown. So, I mean,
he's been incredible. And now Brian Burns turning it up each and every week, looking to be more than a one-note player. You know what I'm saying? Is that you wondered if in that L.A. game, if it was just his ability to be an outside force. But in this past game, yes, you're going to see this one play people have highlighted where he had this juke inside move. He looked like a basketball player going to the basket. But another thing, though, is I've seen Brian Burns tackling running backs in the backfield. So you have him coming to life. You have Yator, Gross Matos.
Dude, at this point, just
coming
say it
to
however
life.
feels good.
Yeah.
I like Gross Matos.
Yeah, Gross Matos.
Gross Matos for me.
Yeah, Gross sounds like
Gross Matos.
My like you're saying, my toast is gross.
Hey, look. Here's the thing: is y'all know my opinions on the Panthers so far and what we felt or what we've seen. Okay, everybody knows that I've been very skeptical of what's going on. I've also said from the beginning that if we do really well, I will gladly eat my words and be happy if I'm wrong. It looks like we're doing all right now, but to be truly honest with you, go back and look at the stats and the numbers and the wins. We're doing just as good as last year with Kyle Allen. And last year with Kyle Allen, a lot of us were saying, oh, look, we should pick him up. He needs to be our guy. If Cam can't come back. This is the same exact thing. People are just forgetting what's going on. Like,
I disagree.
No, you can disagree if you want to, but the stats don't lie.
Stats do lie in some respects.
Don't lie. Stats don't lie when it comes to win-losses, touchdowns. They don't lie. That's all there is to
better?
It.
Who's better in your opinion, Teddy Bridgewater or Kyle Allen?
Kyle Allen in his 5-game win streak. No.
Who is better? Who is better?
In their first 4 games with the Panthers?
Say that.
Hold on. In their first 4 games with the Panthers?
No, period.
Who is a better quarterback? Who is a better quarterback, period?
We don't know going forward what Teddy Bridgewater is going to do. Now, I hope he does well. I really do.
He's like 10 times better than Kyle Allen,
okay.
bro.
Based on what? Based on what, though? Hold on, real quick before you go, Cody. Based on what is he 10 times better than Kyle Allen? It's not yards. It's not touchdowns. It's not wins.
Leadership. 100% right out of the gate.
That's opinionated, and you're not on the field, so you really don't know that. You only know what you see in the media.
No, you see him directing traffic when people are in the wrong spot. He's like, no, you need to come over here. I'm telling you, like, if you look at it, Kyle Allen looked like he was not, the stage was too big for him.
But don't we also say the offensive line is better this year than last year?
I think it is, but I think you have a lot to do with the fact that you have a quarterback that can actually lead the offense. I think when you look at it from that perspective, here's my question.
This is not even a conversation. Teddy is like 10 times better.
No, here's my question.
I just can look at it.
I gotta hear Cody's.
You.
I think Cody's gonna go on my side here.
Yeah, but listen, I wanna try to be the reasonable one in all this and say that So listen, Teddy Bridgewater. If you're asking me who I'm taking right now, if I'm taking Kyle Allen or Teddy Bridgewater, I'm taking Teddy Bridgewater. Now, do I think this offensive line is playing better? Yes. Let me speak to the fear that I think Greg is talking about. Right. So last year. And right now, we're in a similar scenario at around the same time, where the Panthers start winning football games. And then, hey, the guy under center at least looks competent enough to be able to effectively run our offense. And then we're all like, oh, man, here we go. The Panthers are good. Yep. And then just the rug gets pulled out from under us. And we
weren't like that, though. Now, let me remind you.
We were 4-2.
Go back and watch the tape. I promise you, we were on this podcast going, we're winning, but we shouldn't be winning.
What did we tell you? I remember specifically, almost identical, probably the same week that I said about Kyle Allen. I said, he is basically what, I can't even remember his name because he's irrelevant now, was to the Vikings before Kirk Cousins. Now that's what Kyle Allen was to us last year, was basically something to fill in the place. He was never going to be an answer. And I know a lot of people think Teddy Bridgewater can't be. I think in the offense that Joe Brady is running, which is much more efficient than what we had last year, 100%. Last year, yes, we were putting up some points, but we were not putting up nearly the quality of points that we are in this year.
Okay, hold on, real quick.
Credit,
you say quality of points. Hold on, real quick, right here. First 6 games last year.
I don't want to hear first 6 games. Tell me his season.
Why? We've only seen 4 from Bridgewater. I've given you 6 as being legit. We've only seen 4 from Bridgewater. So first 6 games last year for Carolina, we're 4-2, 27 points, 14 points, 38 points, 16 points, 34 points, 37 points.
How many points did we? How many times
that is equivalent to what we're doing this year.
How many points have we scored? How many times have we scored under 20 points this year so far?
0.
0.
Okay. So two times out of the 6 games.
So Greg, you have been very critical on the coaches, though. But can I argue that now, even though the numbers are similar, that was a Ron Rivera who had been there for a long time, and now we have Matt Rule and Joe Brady. And again, it's like all the criticism that we heaped on them. It's like, man, they started behind the curve, with the COVID thing. Everyone's in their first year, and now for them to be doing what they're doing, I get what you're saying, and I understand that trepidation of, dude, I've lived through this story before. I don't want to be in the sequel. I understand that completely. I do think the fact that we have brand new coaches, that we have so many young players that are performing to this level right now, that's why this season is much more, in my opinion, it's a better start than even what we did last year when you put all those things together.
What would what would we look like if Kyle Allen was the quarterback?
0-4, 100%.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, 0-4.
He
but
was terrible,
0-4, but let's not act like this wasn't the first game Teddy Bridgewater won for us. The game he won, the first win of this 2-game win streak.
I don't care.
Teddy Bridgewater didn't win that game. 5 field goals.
If we're in the backyard, picking teams, you can have Kyle Allen, bro.
But can we say this, though? Listen, you win as a team, you lose as a team.
Yep.
Okay, so again, like, people like to do this if you're on or off of the Teddy Bridgewater chain. Like, oh, if the team wins, oh, look at Teddy, you were so wrong about him. Right. Well, not really. I think our whole team. How about this? Put some respect on Mike Davis. Yeah. Mike Davis is running his ass off, and he is gonna truck right through your ass. He don't care who you are. He knows that he's not Christian, but he don't give a damn. Dude, he's coming out there to feast and make some money for him and his family. Salute to the guy. Mike Davis and that offensive line, they're cooking right now. And I really want to make sure that we give that a point of emphasis.
Yes.
Our offensive line is run blocking their asses off, and they're pass protecting well. Which that's all we wanted for Teddy Bridgewater to be able to do his thing. So all signs are pointing up, man.
You know what I'm most, I think we need to look at too, is we are now officially done with preseason. Like, if we think about it from that perspective, we had 4 games.
Right. Yeah.
And so this week is going to tell us a lot about our team because, I don't know if you guys watched the Monday interview with Matt Rule or anything, but like, he was very transparent on a lot of things. And one of the things he said is, there's things that we did really bad in week 1 that we're still not doing great in week 4. And we need to correct those things. But what he's really happy with is that he has seen people like Greg Little, Gross Matos, Razul, whatever his name is. I forgot his name already. In our secondary. Seeing these guys actually
Razul Douglas.
Razul Douglas, that's what it is. I wanted to say Gold for whatever reason. But, he's seen them, and now we can basically have a team that is built for success moving forward, and I'm hoping that's something we see. Do I think we're going to sit here and win the division? I mean, it depends upon if the Bucs decide to crumble or not, because it seems like the Drew Brees-led Saints are definitely not a bad team, but they are vulnerable, and they look like they can be beat.
We're not out of it. We're in time for second right now.
No,
I mean, is that am I ready to put money on it? Not necessarily, but this team is better poised all of a sudden as they look to be getting better from week to week. Here's Matt Rule crediting the players on that improvement.
Yeah, I don't think it's the coaches. I think the players are just getting more comfortable in the system, and they're playing well and they're making plays. Phil's. I think Phil's a great coach, but I don't. I think Yetur turned the corner and knocked the ball out, and Trey was a smart player and ran and got the ball. I think I want to make sure that credit's all going to the players. Their tackling was considerably better this game, so I just think every week the defense and the offense are saying, "Hey, we need to improve this." They're finding things to improve, and they're getting better at it. And I think the real key is just to not get tired of that. Sometimes we get a couple early wins, and then you feel good, but you don't realize that it gets harder and harder as you go. So, but I just think it's a function of the players. Our Our defensive front was really active. Our linebackers were playing really well, and I thought our secondary did a really nice.
All right, so that was Matt Rule in his Monday presser. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. Be part of the show, 252-228-5098. I got to say this about Matt Rule. His press conferences are like annoyingly good. They are, if you could teach somebody, like if you could raise your kid to have good manners at the table and you took them out to like a big dinner with grandparents there, people that like understood manners and all of this, and they were perfect. Like it's annoying how polished he is. And when I say annoying, what it really means is I think it's authentic. Like, I mean, he's not forcing coach. I know a lot of people say it's coach speak, but dude, he's asked about a defense that's been struggling. People calling out Phil Snow and his ability to coach. And instead of pumping up the 60-year-old coach, he's like, man, these players are out there making plays, homie. It's perfect. If you could not script it any better, your thoughts on Matt Rule's just in this process real quick.
I think Matt Rule has taken the right approach to all this. That, listen, you're playing with house money right now. They gave you a 7-year contract. I mean, no matter what could have happened this year, it's his first year in the NFL with a bunch of young players. Like, there's no reason for Matt Rule not to put his all into this.
Yeah.
I mean, not for him to feel a little bit loose, experiment. We're going to have fun playing football in a COVID world. No one believes in us. Everyone's picking against us. I mean, whenever you see, all the media outlets and who they pick, they all pick the Chargers against us, and then they all pick the Cardinals against us. So, again, it's like that bulletin board mentality. All right, no one believes in us. We're just a little engine that could. We're just the rookie head coach. We're just little old Panthers over here on the right side of the country. It's like we're in that spot where no one really expects a whole lot from us. So, the sky really is the limit. Now, and this is what I think is a reasonable question, and I don't think it makes me and Greg like bad fans or unreasonable for mentioning it. It's like, how much of it is a facade? How good are the Chargers and the Cardinals really? We're about to play the Falcons, and they're 0-4. Then we're going to play the Bears, and they're up and down. Like, a win is a win is a win. That's all you can do is what you're asked to do. Get the W on Sunday or whenever you play. But I'm worried that maybe we have taken advantage of teams that we thought were stronger than they actually are.
Well, the Chargers were no pushover against the Bucs.
They weren't, yeah.
No.
And then they also almost beat the Chiefs as well. I mean, and you got to look, and one of the things he talked about in that presser that we didn't get all of it of because of 20 minutes is talking about Greg Little. 2 weeks in a row, he went against high-quality pass rushers, Chandler Jones and Joey Bosa, and he held both of them in check. I mean, that's hard to do.
Well, he wasn't the guy so much in the Chargers game, but I understand he's had tough matchups. He
split reps pretty well. I mean, I think it was pretty evenly split. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he brought it up. He said it was him and the other guy. I can't remember the other guy's name, but he said he's gushing over Greg Little. He is gushing over Greg Little, and that's the part. What you just played in that interview or in that presser is exactly why I think Rule is going to succeed. He is doing what we've always wanted him to do, which is build this team up and not sit there and knock them down every chance you get. These guys are coming in. Deshaun Jackson, or just Dante Jackson, he's coming in every week with confidence. Even though he gets hurt, he comes back in there and he's fighting. He is always fighting. He is not – he's learning. He shied away from contact on that interception that he ran out of bounds. He learned the next week. He is taking that contact on. He's not afraid. He's fighting for this team. And then you look at how he's handling Greg Little. He's like, this guy has just been handling these guys. He's doing such a good job. It sucks to lose Okung, but, man, Greg Little is out there doing great things. And when you have an actual coach that is building your team up, especially one so young as ours, dude, these guys can be dangerous. I'm not going to sit here and buy all into it because I know that we've been, we're living week to week, at least myself. Like the first week, I'm like, yeah, we're done. Peace out.
Buy into it. There's nothing not to buy into right now. That's what the thing is. You should be excited. And you should be excited about this team for the very fact is that they look prepared. They look to be getting better from week to week. And that's that simple. We can say this is, all right, did they play the Green Bay Packers? Not yet. I don't know if we don't have to play the Packers, I don't think. We got to play the Chiefs. But you can only play the people on your schedule. We're already sitting here going into the week last week saying, good God, we got to play Kyler Murray. We got to play DeAndre Hopkins. This, not Isabella. Who's the other guy? There's one other guy that was coming off an injury. And we're like, oh, my God, this is going to be a big test for our secondary.
Kirk?
Yes, Kirk, exactly. And so this is that we won a game and kind of an ugly game against the Chargers. We look better this past week. We should be excited. We should be excited that our team doesn't look like the Broncos or the Jets or the Giants. Like, we are trending each week in a good direction, and I think that's a lot to be said about the coaching staff. And even if it's not about the coaching staff, like they're not the reason that we're doing this, we see that they're not in the way.
No,
right?
they're not in the way. And
right?
yeah, and again, it's like I'm saying earlier, like it's their first year. There's so many rookie players.
It's this good. That's what I'm saying. It's this good and it's first year. That's exciting to me.
And we already have people in the chat room saying that we're too hard on the team. Whatever. We're reasonable. I think we're reasonable about this team.
All right, we got to get.
I feel like I can be a little too hard on them sometimes, but I'm trying to be reasonable. So
okay. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's jump into the cat calls.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey y'all, Carolina Podcast, how y'all doing? It's G Cavassier. Again, I called y'all yesterday on Monday, but today is Tuesday. Hey, I'm still hyped over that Arizona Cardinals win, man. That was a good win. We looked balanced, like I said before. Didn't we look balanced? We looked like a balanced machine. We got those daggone dirty birds this Sunday, man. The pathetic-ass Atlanta Falcons. And I enjoy watching them lose against the damn Packers. Something I want everybody to actually realize, we haven't beat Atlanta Falcons in 2 years. The last time we beat them was 2017. Okay. And for people out there who really don't know
that's tough
football like that, they swept us 2 years in a row. It's our time. It's our time this year. It's our time to beat them come this Sunday. Could we sweep them this year? I don't know. Even we went to the Super Bowl in 2015. We was 15-1, but that one loss came against the Atlanta Falcons. I pray and I hope that the defense that Phil Snow is capable of can stop the Atlanta Falcons. And I hope Mr. Brady has some more little wrinkles and good offensive plays to beat down their defense. So give me your thoughts on that. Because I truly believe that we can beat the Atlanta Falcons. I know we can. We just have to play smart football and be an oil machine. So everybody out there, always remember, y'all, keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Hey, he raises a great point there about us being 0-4 in the last 2 years. And every time we've played them, we've been on a upward motion with the way our team's rolling and the way we're playing. And they've been down, like going down every single time, and they've beat us. So, I mean, based on that, it's not looking good. But if you play the odds, then we should win this game. And I feel like we have the talent to win this game.
We do. I think their defense is like a sieve. I don't think they can stop anything. And again, listen, how many other teams do you know that you're going to be able to say, man, we might be down by 14 or more points at any given time, and we're still just in this, dude. Like, we're in this game no matter what.
Just in it. No, we're not even close. We need to be up 28.
Oh,
wait a second. That's not safe either.
Yeah, well, not if you're the Falcons. And, yeah, I mean, listen, if you're a Panther fan and you're one of the people that's like, okay, this team is going to be a surprise team this year, right now it's looking good for you because this is what you want. I mean, there are some teams that we have on our schedule that are going to be a tough out. So I think it's good that we have some games right now where we can find our identity and actually figure out who we are as a football team, rough some people up, get some bravado going, some energy, some emotion. Like, that's what we needed right now. And as of right now, there's no reason to look at this matchup and not pick Carolina. Like, Atlanta has not given us a reason.
That's what I feel like, is that we can keep telling ourselves that Atlanta is better than they are. And that's just us saying the same things we wanted to believe before. At this point, Carolina has given us something to actually – they've given us results. They've gotten better from week to week. The other team hasn't. They've gotten worse from week to week.
Yeah. Atlanta had –
it would be illogical.
And they're more injured than they were, too.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next cat call. The number's 252-228-5098.
What up, C3? It's your boy Mike, a.k.a. Supreme Alita. Hope you boys are doing all right. On this fine, beautiful Tuesday, gotta love this fall weather. You know what fall weather means? Football. So,
that's it.
First quarter of the season. I mean, I could be more pleased. You know, we could easily be 3-1, possibly even undefeated. But 2-2, right in the thick of the hunt in our division. Still, got that extra. Don't we have the extra playoff spot this season? I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But
these next 5 games, I think, are gonna be the judgment for our 2020 season. Got a couple of division games. Those are the ones we're gonna have to win if we want a chance. And I want a chance. I always want a chance. It's for me. It's any given Sunday. You know, it's doesn't matter how poorly rated a team may be, as evidence of last Sunday. You know, the whole world picked against us, and
including me.
Did demolish them boys. I love the way they contained Kyler Murphy.
Murphy.
I love what the offense was doing. Robbie Anderson.
The announcer kept calling him Kyler Murphy.
I know.
Offense.
Isn't that what he's trying to do? Like, trying to make fun of that?
All this without Christian and C-Mac. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Never expected this. I think this is a testament to our coaching staff and how well they're preparing our guys out there, especially the young guys, man. Shouts out to Rule and Brady and Snow and the rest of those guys. They're doing the big. So I would say after this first quarter of the season, any thoughts or anything on the coaching staff and the team as a whole? Same opinion about the team, or do you now have a different opinion about them?
No, I think we have to. All right, I think I have the perfect analysis of what our position should be on the coaching staff. And Greg, you would not agree with this because you were ready. You were going to be the skeptic for the college coach coming into the NFL when we hired him. And that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, there's actual real evidence that college coaches have not done well coming in. So you can't just be like, oh, man, we're so optimistic. But we were glowingly optimistic when Matt Rule took over, right? Mm-hmm. So you get this, and you get a guy that's signed to the 7-year deal. He gives this press conference. We're about to run through a brick wall for him. He then announces his staff, which triggers Cody Lashney into being uber excited because he brings in Joe Brady, right? So he got me in the initial press conference. He got Cody in the secondary, in the staff announcement. And ultimately, we were all saying this is like, oh, there is nothing but optimism to have right now, because being pessimistic was just only being pessimistic. It wasn't until you injected the Cam Newton storyline that we all of a sudden really took a turn, which was there was like, you can't just be optimistic, because then we just focused on this. But right now we are starting to see data. We have seen data about this coaching staff. And what I've seen is a team that ebbed and flowed a little bit in these first 4 games. The offense ebbed and flowed, right? So what I mean by that is exciting in week 1, dipped week 2 and 3, back in the end zone in week 4. The defense, kind of same thing, except for it dipped 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks in a row it upticks. What I'm seeing is a sort of consistency for this team developing, and I have said it, the coaching staff looks more than competent. The team looks prepared. Very simple. It's like, I mean, at the very worst, I don't even know what is the worst coaching decision that has really happened. You can be like, did we manage the clock right? Yeah, actually, we've been pretty good with clock management. Hasn't been awful.
On 4th down, little stuff.
Right, yeah. Or
stuff.
The 4th and 1. But overall, my real concern was with Joe Brady. And not because I didn't believe in him, but, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't want to gush optimism just because of the hot name or this and that. But he's lived up to it. And more than that. So through for 4 weeks, like, I mean, the sky's the limit, and this is give this team some talent, and all of a sudden, man, boom! I'd be like, if he is who he says he is, Matt Rule, we gonna be winners.
Let me bring some questions from our chat. John Hare says, how do you guys on the show feel about the whole tanking idea at this point? Are you guys worried that we won't get Lawrence, or do you feel like we win with what you can and then do the best job drafting? So, yeah, let's talk about this. And CK wanted to differ with me on some of this stuff too.
Yeah.
But listen, at this point, all I'm doing is this. I'm taking it one game at a time. Like, instead of me being like, oh, I hope we lose or I hope we win. I mean, obviously I hope we win. But now it's to the point, like, if you're actively hoping for tanking, like, I have the mindset that this team, I don't know. I don't want them to get my hopes up either way, so I'm taking it one game at a time. Like, I think that we're definitely going to play our way out of Trevor Lawrence. Even if for some reason we ended up being like a top 5, top 10 team, which I don't think we are, but even if we did, like, we're not getting Trevor Lawrence at this point. Maybe Justin Fields or Trey Lance falls back to us, in which case I would love that as well. It's not just a Trevor Lawrence thing for me. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like, I still want a badass under center with a little more arm talent to be able to push the ball downfield than Teddy Bridgewater. But right now he's proven to be serviceable. But what I will say is this. I'm not going to right now say that, oh, we're looking like a playoff team, or, oh, we're looking like we can do this.
No, but we don't need the stink of tank on us. We don't need that stink. Keep it away from this organization.
And we would never willingly tanking. No
Yes, you
players
would. Is like that's not no
willingly tank.
player would.
We were
But what
talking
you
about
would
2 weeks
do
ago.
is
Yeah.
trade away. You in many ways you would do exactly what Miami did.
Right. You
Yeah.
tank as an organization, and the
Right.
Panthers
Or
have not
Jacksonville.
done right. They have not done that.
Well, here's my thing, okay? It is you guys know my position on the coaching staff, the changes we made, everything else. I also, like I said, from the beginning, have admitted that if I was wrong, I'd be glad to be wrong. And if everything ends up working out, I also have the option to change my opinion on the situation.
I changed my opinion like 7 times.
Right, yeah. So you can change your opinion based on stuff changing in the whole equation. But I think the biggest thing for me is like 2017, 2018, 2019. Like we always every year going in feel like we are just this one thing away, or if this rolls our way this year, it's going to happen. And something's happened that hasn't. And it feels like another year with that going on. Based on everybody we got rid of.
We're not even close to being like that yet. We won 2 games. We can't even be excited yet.
Okay.
Like if we make it 3-4 and you're 4-2, all right.
But
that's
what I'm
still
saying.
so far away.
But
I
that's
think
what I'm
this
saying.
is going to
So
be
we
a
win-
season where you get to just enjoy everything. Just enjoy it.
But Tony, that's what I'm saying. This will be our 4th season in a row winning 6, 7, 8 games. Like that doesn't seem exciting to me. Like it sucks, man. I'm tired of winning 6, 7, 8 games. That's the bottom of the league, not bottom of the league. That's just barely above bottom of the league, man. I'm ready to move forward. Now, what we're looking like right now, maybe we will. I'll have to wait and see what happens in the future. But I'm tired of being a 7, 6, and 10 team, or a 7 and 9 team, or an 8 and 8 team. Like I'm just tired of it, man.
You know what I'm happy though about is the fact that we can all look at our team right now and know we're not a bottom 5 team. Like we know when we look out at the league, we know we're not a bottom 5.
Right now, we can say that. 2 weeks ago, you wouldn't have said that. That's what I'm saying. Everything can change.
Actually, I would have said that 2 weeks ago.
Two games?
I would have said that 2 weeks ago. We did
I was
not
right 2 weeks
look.
ago.
What if we
well.
lose the next 2 games? What if we lose to the Falcons next week? Do you call us a bottom 5 team?
No, because
No,
if they
not
are
even
a
close.
good
We're
team,
2
they
and
just
3.
They're
lost to
still
the
worse than
unwin
us.
Falcons.
How about if we lose? How about this? Here's a question for you.
Okay.
If we lose to the Falcons, who's the worst team?
Ooh,
Between the
in
two?
the division?
No, between the Falcons and
Between
the
the
Panthers.
two of us.
Even
Oh,
we're
I still
still
think
a better team, even if we lose.
No, but
the Falcons
We're
are
2
way
and
better
we're
offensively.
2
Way
and
better
3.
offensively.
They're
Never
1 and
win.
4.
no, the better team wins. I don't care about penalties. I
That's
don't care
not
about
true,
records.
man. That's not true.
Hey, it's like it's
the
in
Falcons
the
beat us in 2015, but we were the better team.
Yes, yeah, that's not true.
It don't matter though. If they beat us,
It does.
you said that they're a better football
Just
team.
that day. All right. So how about this? Let's pick a team out there. So are the
Excuses in my mind.
it's
Like,
not
that's like-
excuse. Then every team you wouldn't have to play the game.
Okay, well,
You
let's
wouldn't
go
have
through
to
it.
play the game.
Let's go through it like this. Who would you rather have, Tony? Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, or Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore?
Well, right now,
Now, I don't know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put-
exactly.
Julio Jones is on the
fair
back end of his
argument.
career.
That's why I'm asking. I want to put it out there. It's a fair argument. So, who would you rather have? Because
I love Robbie Anderson. This guy is a baller, yeah.
He is.
Well,
He
as
really
they
is.
are,
Yeah.
I think. Well, yeah, Julio is
All
injured,
right,
right?
let's go to the next call. Let's do this. Let's go to the next call.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? My
What's up, G?
podcast brothers, my family. Y'all know
What
what
up,
it
G?
is. G
Didn't we hear
Cavalier. And I'm still happy over that wonderful, wonderful victory we had against the damn Arizona Cardinals. Now, I just realized this, and don't bash me. I wasn't really looking at the schedule like that. We got Atlanta this Sunday. Fucking dirty birds, man. The punk ass dirty birds.
They're
man.
the turds.
Honestly, I want to win this damn game. But, Atlanta, man, I hate to say this shit. They had our numbers for a while, man. They really do, man. I mean, I could see us beating them, but I don't think we're going to blow them out, anything like that. I see us winning by at least a field goal, if not a field goal, then maybe a touchdown and everything, man. So give me your take on that. And once again, man, we're getting mentioned in the damn media. People talking about the Panthers now. Ooh, Teddy Bridgewater, they're not tanking, this and that, and all that tanking for Trevor Lawrence. Let this shit go out the damn window. This is not rebuilding season, my opinion. I know we're only 2-2, but hey, I told you, I keep saying we're going to be fighting for a wild card because there's an extra wild card this year. I can see our damn Panthers doing that shit, man. So give me your thoughts on the Atlanta game, y'all. And always remember, y'all, keep pounding.
All right, I'll open up to y'all.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you realize now with the fact that there can be 3 wild card spots, right, in the division, there is a chance that every person from the NFC South makes the playoffs.
Well, that's true with any division.
Yeah, there's a chance. But
I know, but look at it from this perspective. Right now, you have the NFC East,
which they're all bad. Like
all garbage.
The Redskins are in the division running.
Yeah, they're
Can you
leading the
believe
division.
that?
They're leading the division.
No, but remember though, I would still put the NFC West as a better contender to put 3 teams in the playoffs than us. I think the Seahawks, the Rams, and
you know what? Honestly, that was possible before. You could have 3 teams there was a year that Atlanta, Carolina, and New Orleans made the playoffs.
All 4 teams can make the wild card now. Or
Just
make the
playoffs
now.
Make the playoffs.
No,
You're
make
right.
the playoffs.
No, you're right. That's a good
teams.
point.
All 4
now
teams.
4 teams can.
Because
Before,
there's 3 wild card spots.
Yeah.
And so if there's one that wins the division.
But do we really think that all 4 teams are going to make it? I don't.
No,
I don't. But I also look at yes, NFC West is definitely the one you've got to look out for.
they're going to come out of the East. Or the North,
the 49ers are not the same team they were. Let's be honest. They just lost to the Eagles. And
didn't they beat Philly?
No,
Philly
they
beat
lost.
them.
They lost.
They lost to Philly, bro. They lost to Philly. The
getting
Cardinals lost to us.
Yeah.
And then who else is in that division? I almost forgot. I mean, you have the Seahawks.
The Rams.
And the Rams are not the same team. They look decent, but they're not the same team. There's
good.
Yeah,
but
they're not.
Almost got beat by the Giants.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So I mean, there's this entire NFC is up in the air, and when I look at what we have as a NFC South, I think the NFC South has a chance to have a lot of quality contenders if the Falcons can turn it around. If they cannot be plagued by injuries, then that's something that can happen. But I'm just saying that when you look at it from that perspective, I think there is a chance that the entire division can make it into the playoffs. That would be insane on the first year.
Yeah, you raise a good point. You really do. So let's think about it. Who are the powerhouses in the NFC?
Green Bay,
and Seattle, right?
Green Bay, Seattle are by far the best, and then you have the possibility of the Bucks being at 3-1, which I still think they are
But I wouldn't call them a powerhouse right now.
No, they are a good team that is playing well, but also could very well crumble.
And I would say that the Saints, until they officially go away, I would say you can't count them out yet.
Give them that respect. Yeah. Okay. So 3 out of 7 possible teams are powerhouses.
I feel like we're missing someone.
I do too. I really do.
No,
yeah. It's not
Detroit
it's not Chicago,
sucks.
It's not anybody in the East. It's not
Detroit Vikings,
sucks.
Bears.
Yeah.
Are all kind of next to nothing.
I mean, you have right, CK.
all of NFC East being bad. Then you have the Cardinals not being what they were expecting, the Rams not being what they can live up to be, and then the 49ers clearly taking a step back.
They can't
by a pretty
be good.
large
They
margin.
don't have, they have too many.
But a lot of things can change still.
Yeah, but I've always said, in my mind, the true NFL season doesn't begin until after week 6. Because in my mind, after 6 weeks of the NFL season, that's when the men are separated from the boys.
Right. Yeah.
Like right now, there are some football teams that if we looked at their record right now, you would think, this team kind of sucks, whatever. But then later on down the road, all of a sudden, whoa, like this team has put together some good wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Vikings are a contender to do that. I thought they'd be bad, but they're finally starting to kind of get their things back together. We need to see a little more. That's why, like, it's too early to say who is and isn't going to last. You know, like, there's still so many question marks around too many football teams. Like, we don't know what the Rams are going to be. We don't know hell, Atlanta, look what they did last year and turned it on at the end of the season and won a bunch of games they weren't supposed to. So you just don't know yet. But you just have to take it one game at a time right now. And if we're doing that, then it feels good to be a Panthers fan because we've got some momentum.
Let's go on to the next call. The number's 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up. Be a part of the show.
Hey, guys. C3 fam and the nation at large. It's your boy, Josh from Mass.
Josh from Mass.
What's up, buddy?
You know, I liked a lot of what I saw on Sunday. Looks to me like a team that is going to get its dog fight this year. I think we're really starting to see flashes of what this team can be. I genuinely am hesitant to say I look forward to seeing this every week. It's not going to be this every week. It's just not. I'm glad to see that, you know, I treat this like a glimpse into what this team can be, with a few of the right moving parts in the right places. And I guess there's a lot of people go, well, we don't need to draft him. We don't need to know. No, that's part of team building is to have a young, promising quarterback with a franchise guy and isn't costing the team a ton of money because he's on a rookie deal. That allows you to bring in either free agent linemen or free agent, you know, positional talent anywhere on the football field. That's very important. You know, money management is a big part of it. You know, and again, you look at what they pay Teddy. They don't view him as an answer. That pay does not compute with this is a guy we think is a franchise quarterback. It doesn't. So that's kind of where I'm at in that regard. You know, Teddy played great for who he is and what he does. I think that's pretty close to his ceiling. Really, I think it is. That's not an insult. It's not a bad place to be. It's not a bad feeling. It's just not the guy who's going to be the end all be all. And that's fine. It doesn't need to be right now. Brian Burns, though, man, that D-line as a whole, man, that's really starting to look like some Panthers mother. And defense, boys, that defense is going to be diggity dog dirty by the end of this year. There's going to be some obvious glaring issues, but man, they look pretty damn good. Especially Shaq Thompson. I had a lot of questions about him last few weeks, and today he looks pretty good. But again, I'm hesitant to celebrate too much because it's the Cardinals, and they're another team that's in a rebuild. Let's be honest. They're in their second year of it. Oh, I'm almost out of time. I'm calling back. Don't you fear. You're getting a two-parter from Josh and Matt this week, kid. Hang on.
Go ahead and respond to the call.
I want to put forth something to everybody. And everyone's going to be like, oh, come here, there you go again. Whatever. Let me put forth this scenario. Would you be upset? Let's say the Panthers this year kind of do what me and Greg are afraid of, right? Let's say we go 8-8, 9-7, or 7-9, whatever. Okay, so then we have a good first year under our brand new coaches. The team shows signs of life. We see good things to build on, right? Okay. Let's extend this out a little further. Let's say the team with the number one pick in the draft is a team that already has a quarterback.
Like the Falcons?
Well, like the Falcons. So, again, I mean, everyone's saying most teams are just going to pick Trevor even if they have their quarterback, which isn't surprising to me. But let's say the Jets, the Giants, the Falcons. Let's say you have some team that has an entrenched starter at quarterback. I mean, I don't think they're going to be in this position, but the Texans right now still don't have a W, right? And we already know they have their quarterback. would you guys be upset after a season this year where we showed a bunch of potential if we traded away future picks, even if it was a lot, to be able to move up and get the quarterback of the future? By the way, it also doesn't push Teddy Bridgewater out the door, because we could do with him like teams have been doing with Tyrod Taylor, give him the reins until the young quarterback is ready.
Do you do that with Trevor, though?
Well, I wouldn't. I think he's ready right now. But I'm saying, like, if we're a football team who had a decent season, better than we were expecting, and David Tepper decided, I want to make a move for the quarterback of the future, are you guys happy with that? Or would you rather just build on what we have, continue to draft, and just try and continue to build that way?
I say no, we don't. Like, I would not be happy with it. And I'll tell you why. Because if we don't trade up and we let the cards fall as they may, right? And Trevor Lawrence is a bust. Well, then but if we trade up and it's a bust, we just mortgaged away our entire future.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the next 10 years, regardless.
Right. But what other player would you like? What other player would there ever be for there to be enough film and footage enough for you to be like, okay, if any player justifies the haul, it's him?
No, you gotta say we're not in a position. We're not. I don't think we got to move. No. All right, maybe. I mean, I don't know. But we're
like, if we're 7-9 or whatever,
you have to move so far up. You got to move from 12 to 1.
If you want to move from 12 to 1, especially knowing Trevor Lawrence,
you 2 first-round picks.
You're gonna give away the next 2 years of first-round picks, or a first round, and you're giving away
not more than yeah. I think 2 first rounds would be cheap.
Yeah, it's going to be more. I mean, I could see a scenario where they say our entire draft pick next year, like every draft pick. I mean, which would be like horrendous, because, I mean, for the future of the team, I think that's quite the opposite you want to have. If you want to build a team around Trevor Lawrence, that is the worst thing you can do. Well, because
all right, I think we got to go. This is Panthers Guide FSU 23 says you guys got to show the new headquarters. So I need you guys to go to Panthers.com. I've got it pulled up, and if you get a
there's a Twitter post with like 4 pictures and one.
All right, so I've got the screen. There's 10 pictures posted by the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Oh, there's an ad.
Remember, we have to get people excited to come to that place right there.
Why? First of all, it looks better than the stadium.
It looks incredible, man.
For now.
It looks like a spaceship.
If we're putting the effort into a headquarters like this, it's not far behind before we get a new stadium, guys. I'm telling you, like, look at, I mean.
Oh, man, what a smart comment you said. You said for now.
Yeah.
How brilliant is that, CK?
And to add on to what CK was saying, though, while we're looking at these pictures here, so you were saying if we gave up a first and second round, this year and next year, that's, draft capital that you're not going to be able to build the team with. But could I make the argument that if you already have a young, talented roster and we have money coming off the books, that now free agents are going to want to go and play for the football team that has the guy at the quarterback position? So, yeah, maybe you're suffering in your draft for a year or two, but then after that, you're getting back, and you've already been able to
you're not gonna be able to. You have it's too much. It's too
Let me
much.
ask you a question. Deshaun Watson, what's been his biggest issue for his entire career with the Texans outside of coaching?
Like with his game, or what?
Yeah.
Like what?
No. What's the reason that the Texans have not been able to take it to the next level with Deshaun Watson at quarterback?
Offensive line and play calling with Bill O'Brien.
So they haven't been able to build a team around them, and they didn't even trade picks away. Just think about how much harder it would be if you traded all your picks away.
They did. They traded from like 20-something up to get Deshaun.
But they didn't trade. They didn't trade like their future draft picks of like
and
3
then they
years.
did afterwards, and it didn't work. I don't think it works.
Well, here's
all
the
right.
thing,
How about
too,
this? Is the Redskins the last team that did it? Actually, I don't know if it's the last team that did it. The Redskins did it for RG3.
Yeah, but are we just judging on every team that did it and failed? Like, what about all the teams that moved up and were successsual?
Tell me the one. What is the team?
The Eagles won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they moved up and got Carson Wentz.
Let me ask you: when somebody moved,
they got it with Foles,
five,
though. Come on, they didn't even win.
Well, okay, you're right. But wasn't Carson Wentz having an MVP season that year?
Guys, we are always going to be a middling football team if you don't have the guy under center. If it means you mess up your next draft for a year or two, if it means getting the guy at the most.
So was Cam Newton the wrong guy under center then?
What are you talking?
No, we went to a Super Bowl with him, 15-1.
Yeah,
but we didn't win it.
Second best
we didn't win it,
ever in the
though.
NFL.
You said we're never going to win it. Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
we're never going to win it. Is that we had basically the number one pick of the draft. We Cam Newton. Was he number one pick or was he number two?
He was number one.
Yeah.
If you look at it from that perspective,
that was number two.
If you look at it from that perspective, Cam's career with the Panthers is the definition of a middling football team. You know, not saying that he was a middling quarterback, but we did not win.
Right. Yeah.
We did not win more than we lost.
Well, we had the quarterback, and we didn't have the organization around him. Now I feel like with Matt Rule and Joe Brady and David Tepper and everyone who was invested in our future, I feel like now we have the organizational part, or at least it looks like we have that down. Now get a quarterback, a superstar quarterback to fit that offense, and dude, we could be rolling for years at a time.
Or it could be a bust.
Yeah, you could have, would have. You could be you might be my uncle.
See, y'all are sounding like me right now.
No, I'm not sounding like this. That sounding like that's just ridiculous.
It's just going to be way too expensive.
It's too easy.
The amount of money, the amount of draft capital we would have to give up to move from 3 to 1.
You're never going to be able to build a good team. Never going to be able to build a good team when you give up multiple first rounders. Sorry, you just can't. You cannot build a team when you give up multiple ones.
So you would rather have just another linebacker, another defensive?
No, I would never pick a linebacker. First of all, I would if you pick a tight end in the first round, I'll punch you in the head. No, I would not. But I would not pick those positions. But at the same time, you cannot go 3 years without retooling top end talent. It's already hard enough when you get 3.
Then if that's the case, every night we need to be praying Teddy Bridgewater is the one and keeps it up and does, because listen, if you're not going to draft a quarterback, that means you're paying.
We could get somebody in free agency.
Hey, let me press the break. Let's press the break for a minute. Can we press the brakes for a second? Who are the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now, in your opinion?
The top.
Russell Wilson.
Where was he drafted?
Aaron Rodgers.
Where was he drafted?
3rd round, right?
But Russell Wilson also bucked the trend of the short quarterback.
Russell Wilson. Hold on. I'm just
you don't get the big butts and what's.
Hold on. So Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes,
first round,
Deshaun Watson. But where in the first round? Where in the first round, though?
Okay, Rodgers.
You're right.
23, and Deshaun and Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, both of those teams had to trade up for both of them, and I would say
they were.
But it was like
the
first
12th. They were not early.
Mahomes
they were not
was 12th round pick, number 12 overall.
And
they moved up big time for him.
Mahomes was number 12.
No, Mahomes was 10. No, Mahomes was 10. Deshaun was 12.
My bad.
But it was worth it for both of them.
We're not saying it's not.
Lamar Jackson was 32nd, right?
Yeah. What I'm trying to prove a point of is we don't need to reach for a quarterback at number 1. That's what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, yes, it may not even be this year. It may not be next year, maybe the year after. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Teddy. But what I'm trying to put a point on is that mortgaging the future of your organization is exactly what the Bears did, and look what's happened.
Well,
Yeah, but they pitched
And the Giants.
No, yeah, and I don't want to talk about it because it's like I feel like we talk about Trevor Lawrence more than we talk about Cam Newton. I'm tired of talking about that little girl, bro.
Look, CK.
You would be his number one fan if Trevor Lawrence was a Panther.
I will be, but he's not. He's not, and it's so far.
I would like him to be a Panther, but I don't think it's like to reach for him would be a problem.
By the way, I never said Trevor Lawrence. I just said to move up for a quarterback if we're out of range for one.
And real quick, I want to say, pushing back on what CK was saying, you're right, CK. Like, there are a lot of quarterbacks that have been taken in the later rounds or later in the first round that have been okay, but the odds tell you that most of the time you're going to end up with a Will Grier.
No,
if that's the case, then you should not trade to get Will Grier. Then
what I'm trying to point out. Hold on, you're forgetting the point. What I'm trying to say is, like, a lot of the quarterbacks that we're talking about this year are going to be gone in the top 5. If we talk about trading into the top 5, that's
it takes
no bueno.
Years and years of away from your organization. I agree. 100.
What I'm talking about is 10 and beyond. Absolutely. And statistically speaking, if you look at the rankings of quarterbacks in the NFL right now, every one of them, for the most part, in the top 10 were drafted late. Dak Prescott. You have Green Bay. I was going to say Aaron Rodgers. You have Lamar Jackson. And I'm talking about later, like in 10 or beyond, not top 10 picks.
You're right.
Thereafter.
Yeah, you're right.
Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. You have all of these guys that were drafted late that are successful, Russell Wilson, and they're considered the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. We've got to look at it from that perspective. Mortgaging your future as an organization is not the move to have.
And not even the future, the right then. You're mortgaging everything. It's ridiculous. You are overspending.
You're overspending.
To go up to 1 or 2, this is what we're talking about. I don't want to hear about like moving up from the 3rd to the 2nd. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about moving from 12 or 15 to number 1. And that takes an act of God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like
so it's not even worth talking about. It's not even worth talking about.
Because if you have you say mortgage your future. So, we're talking about what? Maybe 2, maybe 3 years? As opposed to...
No, you're talking... How do you quantify 3 years of first-round picks? It's not just 3 years. It's
if you drafted a quarterback, how long would you want them to quarterback the team? For more than a decade. More than a decade, right? Okay. So
if you draft a quarterback, yes.
All I'm saying is losing a few years of draft picks to make sure that you have your quarterback is worth it every single time.
But you're talking about but those draft picks you're talking about giving away are also players that are going to last a decade, hopefully, if you're drafting them. So, yes, a quarterback, that's what I'm talking about. Is like if we can get somebody in the top 15, 10 to 15, if we're talking about trading from 15 to 9, sure, let's talk about that. That's a different scenario. If we're talking about trading from 10 to 1, that is a much different transition from draft equity. And that's where I'm talking about. And I know you're not just saying Trevor Lawrence. So let's take into a field. He's probably going to be within top 3, right? Depending upon how the season goes. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah. I need
say top 5. Top 5. You're going to give away 2 picks to get in the top 5.
No, we're overvaluing those
2 first-round picks. Bull crap.
Overvaluing those picks.
That's a lie.
Okay, so listen. Right now, the Houston Texans, they don't have a head coach or a general manager, right? So if you're one of the people who's applying for the job, that's not necessarily the greatest job to apply for. So if you're Houston, they don't have a first-round pick this year or next year. But what's the one thing that they do have that is going to get the hot new coaches' names to consider the Texans highly over every other football team? That's right, Deshaun Watson.
They've had Deshaun Watson. They've had Deshaun Watson.
I don't think that alone is going to do it. Yeah, I don't think that alone is going to do it.
You know that you're
Deshaun and DeAndre, maybe. Deshaun and DeAndre, yes.
They've had Deshaun Watson, bro.
You're going to be able to build that.
They didn't just get Deshaun. But he's already on his second contract.
They got rid of his best weapon, dude.
But that wasn't his fault. You'll be able to build.
I know that wasn't his fault, but it still affects him.
But if you don't have quarterbacks, you don't have anything.
I agree with you there. And I want to real quick touch on, you guys were talking about earlier free agency and picking up a big free agent. I'm sorry to tell y'all, Carolina is not a spot where a big free agent is going to go. Okay, if there are 4 or 5 choices for somebody like, say, an Odell Beckham or just any huge free agent, a Bosa, they're not coming to Carolina because we're such a small market. It's not going to happen, man. We don't pick up big free agents for that reason. And it sucks, but that's the way it is, man. They want to come to a big market and make money, and if they're not going to, they're not really going to consider coming here because most of these guys are not about winning; they're about making money, which I understand. I understand that, but that's what it is.
But doesn't it change if the Panthers start winning together or putting together winning?
I don't think so. We were 15-1. Who were the biggest free agents that came to Carolina the next year?
Do you want to go where there's a bigger market, or do you want to go where you're going to have a better chance to win a Super Bowl?
That's what I'm saying. We were 15-1. Who were the big free agents that came to Carolina?
But we didn't have any money, bro.
We did well. No, not even that. We didn't have much turnover. We didn't have turnover that year. We had a lot of people come back.
We went and got Mac.
I just don't think Carolina's a big market. I love Carolina. I love being a Charlotte fan, but I just don't think we're ever going to attract huge free agents unless it's the end of their career.
I think we will.
Money attracts all, bro.
I think true, but they want money with endorsements.
I think Matt Rule and then this new headquarters and the fact that this team is clearly trying to put this place into a position to be successful, I think those things are absolutely going to be able to draw free agents.
That'd be really awesome if it did.
You mentioned Odell Beckham.
All right, can we play the next call?
Yeah,
we gotta push through these calls, bro.
Right,
we're gonna be here all night.
If Odell Beckham Jr. had his choice of going to a small market team like Green Bay, you're damn sure he would do it because Aaron Rodgers is there. And that's my point. If you have a quarterback that makes you win football games,
maybe you get Aaron Rodgers in free agency, homie.
What?
Maybe you get Aaron Rodgers in free agency.
Yeah, we got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, man. But he's better than what he's got right now.
I'm down.
Aaron Rodgers ain't going to be playing football for the next 10 years either, though.
He's going to be in New England if they don't keep Cam.
All right, next call.
You heard me say it right now.
Hey, just from Matt again. I'm back from outer space. Just walked in to find you here with that look upon your face. Like the
cover this call for me.
To win the second game of the season. I wish I had a follow-up as good as that opener was there. Damn. Anyway, it was great showing by our defense this week. Really only a couple of guys who seem like they're going to just be who they are. We know who they are. Tahir Whitehead's one of them. Some other names out there, but I'm also happy to see Mike Davis coming along and really starting to look like that bruiser power back. He's great. I really think it'd be great if he continues to develop with the skill set he so apparently has to be a bruiser to go with Christian McCaffrey. More finesse, more finesse, more option type running back play. And Robbie continues to impress. And I agree with a lot of people. DJ Moore is he's not kind of disappointing. He's pretty disappointing. And not just because I got him in fantasy, like he genuinely is. It's lackluster. I don't know if it's just one of those things that kind of takes time, or if the usage isn't quite there. He's never really had those big moments, those big games, big sketches that we've all been waiting 3 years now for him to take. This is year 3. Or is it 4? No, this is 6. And, I questioned with him and Curtis Samuel and this team, the trajectory they're on, it's like, oh, well, great, let's get a middling draft pick, and now we're going to end up picking another receiver because neither of these two are going to pan out. It's I hate to say it, but it's really starting to feel like that's the way it's going to be. And I don't know if it's game plan. I don't know if it's what, but, you know, we've got three pretty good receivers out there, and you're really only fielding one of them to its potential. You know, hopefully that'll continue to be part of the evolution of this team and the development and growth that we've been seeing. And I'm out of time again. Will I do one more? No, I don't think I will. Josh McMahon, sign it out. Keep pounding, stay pounding, fam.
Keep pounding. Talking about the receivers there. I mean, I think our receivers have looked pretty good. I think everyone has kind of shown the value that they have, even down to someone like Farrell Cooper on punt returns. You know, I mean, we haven't been fantastic, but I think our receiver core. I mean, listen, we had a window where we could have had a really good tandem in DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. I already said I think Curtis Samuel is still going to be a big-time NFL football player. Whether or not that happens on the Panthers, it remains to be seen. I don't know that Teddy Bridgewater is ever going to be the kind of quarterback that uses him like we've been dying him for him to be used for the past, 3 or 4 years since he's been drafted. I think
you want him to be Tariq Hill.
I tell you what, can I say this? Can I say this? No. I'll be really upset, and I mean really upset actually, if we decide to pay DJ Moore before we do Taylor Moton.
Oh, we're not paying DJ Moore.
How do you know?
I mean, if he puts up another
on my nose as I took this
season,
sip of beer because he's not been good, bro.
Dude, okay.
He was with
DJ Moore has not been good this year.
He's been better than any receiver we drafted in the last, I'd say, 7, 8, 9 years.
That's fine,
I would agree with that.
Robbie Anderson is clearly the best receiver on the field.
I wouldn't say the best.
Oh, you and your Robbie Anderson nonsense.
It's like not even. It's night. Like it's not. It's head and shoulders.
It's tagged in.
Lies. Then DJ Moore is a terrible.
I'm telling you, I know you're sweating that we're getting close to 6 games now, and you're afraid. I see it.
I know that.
I can hear it in your voice.
I ain't scared about DJ. Yeah.
John Harris agrees with you. He says
let's see. Receiving. Robbie Anderson has 377. DJ Moore has 288. Anderson has 10 more receptions with only 2 more targets and 1 more touchdown.
Yeah. So Robbie Anderson.
You're right. Robbie Anderson is doing better than DJ Moore. You're right. But DJ Moore.
DJ Moore's been sorry, man. He's been dropping balls.
Yard season.
He's not blowing off the doors off of nothing. So no.
Hey, to be fair, Tony,
you're right.
He started the season out this way too, and then he turned it on. Like,
okay, I'm not saying it can't be good, but like I ain't got no reason to re-sign him.
Yeah. Oh, I
really? You're not going to re-sign him if his opportunity comes up? You're not going to re-sign DJ Moore?
Nope.
You don't think
he's 5th year option? Maybe.
You don't think he's a good enough number 2 at least? Okay, DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel. You got to sign one of them. DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel.
Oh God, neither.
Really?
So you don't want him?
Really? Okay.
I'm not giving into this Curtis Samuel shit no more, man.
Hold on, no. So let me ask you this, Tony. Who do you want to draft then? Are we drafting another receiver?
Robbie Anderson does it all. We don't need anybody else.
Well, first of all, we got DJ. We don't have to re-sign DJ. We're not even close to re-signing DJ. We got like 2 more years with DJ.
2? I think you got 2 years. Yeah.
That I've heard you say you don't want to draft in the first round, and now you're saying you don't want to move up for a quarterback. So who we drafting?
Yeah, we're drafting a cornerback. We're drafting a cornerback. We're drafting a safety. We're drafting a defensive end again. We're drafting I want a left tackle, bro. Give me that left tackle at 8. Give me that left tackle at 12 as everybody overspends for John Ross.
You think that's the difference in us being 8-8 and 13?
No, but I tell you this is I've seen Cam Newton, the best player in my lifetime that I love more than anybody, play behind the line that sucked a big D, and it didn't do him any favors.
That's not the way that it should be. That's not the way that it should be. You should build a good offensive line and a good receiving core for your quarterback.
Dude,
But-
DJ
but
Moore
it-
is not
it's a
even that
difficult
good,
equation.
bro. Calvin Ridley's way better, and you could have drafted him.
I'll give
He's
you
not
that
way
Calvin Ridley is better. I feel like Calvin Ridley is a better, but he
No,
also
no,
has
no,
he has a
no,
more
no.
accurate quarterback throwing to him
100%.
in his career. Like Matt Ryan is a passing quarterback. That's what he does. He throws for big yards to
Again.
big receivers.
Like, why are we
I
even
feel
talking
and
about
the
this?
fact you have Julio on the side helps him
This
out.
doesn't even
because
seem like
Julio
what we should
covers,
be talking
yeah?
about.
You're right. It doesn't.
First of all, is that if you sign DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel before you sign Moton, then yeah, I got some questions, bro. Sorry.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Moton has been all right. Like, you put your money where your mouth is, and I don't want to just hear reputation draft stock. And at this point, is Taylor Moton is actually, I've seen good tape on him.
He's been great since we drafted him. He's had a few bad games here and there, but dude, for the most part, he's
gotten better.
He's a shutdown right tackle, I feel.
Well, see, I don't know if it's the answer. I don't know if he's the answer, but I do know this is that he's given more for me to believe in than Curtis Samuel is. All right, 252-228-5098.
Hey guys, it's Jason from Colorado calling you again. Just to get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the.
Hey, no. Like, just pause.
I thought my
on
mic
to-
cut out or my headphones cut out.
Just stopped on its own.
Hey guys, it's Jason from Colorado calling you again. Just to get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the personnel choices that we made this week. It seems to me like, and we talked about this before, it seems like KK might be kind of past his prime a little bit, and that it doesn't seem like we don't hear his name called out hardly at all. And I know that's good with offensive linemen, not so much with the defensive linemen. I personally, I like the idea of throwing our rookies in there. I want to see Bravion Roy get some more reps. I'd like to see Kern, I think was his name, the guy that kept on subbing out at
Slow running
inopportune times for the Cardinals. It was something that I think spoke to the quality of the coaching during the game, where Arizona would call a last-minute substitution, and by rule, we have as much time to substitute our players as we need. And so he just strolled on out there and killed probably 20 seconds between the two substitutions in the last few minutes of the game. And I think that showed a really intimate knowledge of the rules, and I think that speaks to the quality of the coaching that our team's receiving. And another thing that y'all brought up.
Question about this. When he says it shows an intimate knowledge about the rules, how's he spelling that? All right.
In the post-game show was the downfall of Gettleman after he put the franchise tag on Josh Norman, and how that kind of spelled the end, where he broke his own rule, and then he had to go and redraft the position that he let go. And I know that a lot of people were saying that, Josh Norman, he was kind of washed up. We had his best season in 2015, and then he took off. But, I mean, I don't know if y'all were watching the Bills game, but this was his first game as a Bill, and he really made himself heard. And I think that speaks more to the kind of defense that was being run, because when he was playing with Sean McDermott, it seems like he does a pretty darn good job. And then when McDermott left, we cut Norman. He goes to Washington, and Washington's a dumpster fire. I don't think you can hold anybody, to task for not being a rock star when you go to Washington, because there were holes all over the place. Although, when we played Washington back in 2016, they kicked our ass, and Josh Norman had two interceptions, I think he had an interception and a forced fumble in that game. But he was out there. He forced another fumble with a peanut punch, which was fun to watch. But another thing that y'all were talking about was, just the kind of the coaching situation, and how certain coaches, I think that coaches can get credit for the spectacular talent of their players. And I think that a few coaches that kind of suggest that, with one of the ones that Tony brought up was John Motzko.
He got cut off by the time limit, and I'm sure I've got another call for him next. But thoughts on that?
I love it, man. And I think it goes back to one of the things that I have said many times on this podcast, that so much of coaching is taking the players that you have and putting them in situations that you know is going to make them successful. So, for example, when Washington signed Josh Norman, everyone wanted to be like, oh, he's not a shutdown corner. He sucks now. He's this and that. Well, what we were asking him to do here in Carolina was different than what the Redskins were having Josh Norman do. He was a zone corner, and we ran a zone scheme. Like, he wasn't the guy that you would put on a number one receiver and just shut him down. Like, that's not really how we did things here. So, kudos to the Bills. I think Sean McDermott has really proven himself to be a legitimate coach in the NFL. He always had one of the best defenses when he was here in Carolina, and now he's rolling up there in Buffalo. I don't know if you guys did see the interception in question, but Josh Norman hit him with that peanut punch that he learned from Charles Tillman when he was here, and he was recovering fumbles, man. He looked good.
The caller mentioned the substitution. Here's Matt Rule on what the thought
by the way,
behind that.
I love his answer here as well.
Oh, yeah, and you got to play two clips because he answers it twice, and you got to piece them both together.
That's from being in college where everyone's tempo all the time.
Oh my God.
They sub. So when they sub, we have a chance to sub. And when you're a tempo team, I do believe that we should substitute because that's safety. You start getting 15, 16, 17 plays, and they're going tempo and it's hot. We want to try to rotate our guys. So when they subbed, we sent them in. That's, like I said, that's something that we're used to. And, I think our guys did a great job of when I yelled for Zach Kerr to go get in the game and get KK out, he did, or Derek Brown out, he did it and did a great job.
Here's part two.
Just for Zach, we would never want our guys to sprint on the field and then play a snap, right?
They're asking him if he ran on slowly.
That wouldn't be safe. If you're having to run off the field because we you're up against the clock, then we want you to run off the field. But running on the field, we would never sub if there wasn't time. So, we don't want guys running out there and being gassed and having to play that.
It's about safety.
I want to, yeah, that's what I absolutely loved, is that it wasn't a matter of him patting himself on the back and saying, yeah, we made a really smart move there. It was, hey, yeah, no, that's honestly, we just wanted him to get out there and not have to, get hurt. We didn't want him to, or we just wanted to substitute to help, make sure those safeties aren't getting too gassed. Anytime we have an opportunity to rotate guys out, we're going to do that. When it comes down to that, what I hear in that is, everybody else, even in the broadcast, and Greg, I know you weren't watching, so you may not have known this. Basically, what it was like maybe 10 or 15 seconds left on the play clock, right? And the offense got to substitute. Well, Matt Rule, being a head coach, a very smart head coach, apparently knew that he had an opportunity to substitute, meaning they weren't going to be able to snap the ball, and it was in the red zone both times, and. So basically, they got to
substitute Kerr, and Kerr jogs out there. Was he kind of jog walking a little bit?
Yeah,
but
and basically,
still, it wasn't. It was. They had to call a timeout, and one of them, they had to call a timeout. It was a beautiful. And you know what is we learned, because I saw UCF play. So UCF played the East Carolina Pirates in week 1, and these guys run to the line. Like, the whole team, as soon as the play's done, the whole team runs up, and they snap and go. It is insane how quick they get their offense off, and it exhausts a defense. So when you're playing college teams that do that, you got to find ways within the rule system. And not only do you throw off their up-tempo offense, you set them back by having to call a timeout, getting a delay a game. It's phenomenal. The number's 252-228-5098.
I really ramble on too much, but Moscow gets a lot of credit for being this offensive line whisperer, even though just because Andrew Norwell is, an undrafted free agent, came in and had, became an all-pro. And I don't think that necessarily means that coaching is spectacular. Another instance would be Adam Gase, who in 2015 had this rock star season with the Denver Broncos, and really it was all because of Peyton Manning. Really, from 2013 through 2015, Peyton Manning changed the league. He was out there slinging it and whatnot. But then Gase was able to ride that into head coaching job after head coaching job, and he's turned every single one of them into the ground. And honestly, I think that you might be able to say the same thing with Ron Rivera, where when Cam was healthy and being Cam, Rivera wins Coach of the Year. But when Cam's not healthy, the rest of the team was just garbage. And so I feel like you can't translate individual unique talents into, adequate coaching. I think it's a false equivalence. I did want to, a couple weeks ago, somebody called in and was roasting up, I think it was roasting up CK about how he was pronouncing Luke Kuechly's last name, because y'all were saying Kuechly and not Kuechly. But I'm saying the same thing about Yetur Grossmatos, because it seems like everyone wants to call him Yetur Grossmatos, which is it's a bastardization of his name, but that's small fish. Last but not least, I guess I'd like to throw in an ice up pick for J-Dub on his call last week, where he was saying, I've had enough of all this negativity and all this, that, and the other, and how people were expecting us to be bad, and that shows that you're not a true Panthers fan. And I don't think that that's true. I don't think you need to be 100% in lockstep with coaching and management to be a fan. And again, that was something that I don't know if it was Greg or CK brought up in their Ice Up picks a few weeks ago about gatekeeping. And I don't think we need to be gatekeeping Panthers fandom. But, it's all in good fun. We're all Panthers fans here. And I love what y'all are doing with the podcast. Keep pounding. Shout out to Joey the Blind Panther.
Great call, man.
I love it.
That's a great.
That was fantastic. I like that one a lot.
All right, let's keep pounding through the calls.
Fellas, how's it going? Victory Tuesday. But anyways, this is AJ down here in Blaine County.
What's
it's
up,
been
AJ?
a while since I've called in, but just wanted to call this week. Team's looking really good. I'm liking seeing the defense flying around. I like it's really good. Main reason I'm calling, a couple points that I just got to get off the whole quarterback talk. I hear a lot of people about Trevor or any other quarterback that we don't need to win games, this, blah, blah, blah. But here's the deal. There's more than one way to build a football team, and you don't have to lose and get one of the top 3 picks to get that guy quarterback. That formula does not always work. More times than not, it fails. Look at all the other quarterbacks that have went in the top. That
the calls are fired
what
tonight.
happens? Everybody's not Cam Newton. Cam Newton covered up so many holes with this football team that it worked for us. They didn't do nothing for him. We didn't build no line for him. We put him a defense on the other side to keep us in games and let Cam win them. That was Ron's formula. Build the defense up, let Cam win the game. That's what happened. And that's how that's what the deal was.
That's some true speak right there.
I like the process of building a football team and get your franchise guy when you can. Look at Kansas City, Mahomes, good team. Mahomes is special, but he has a good football team he plays on. Russell Wilson, 3rd-round guy, good talent. Everybody was scared of his height. Went to a good football team, went to a winning program. And he's only gotten better every year. There's more than one way, guys. And at the end of the day, I want to see competitive football. Secondly, the biggest thing here is Hurney. Marty Hurney. I know people hate Hurney. I know there's people that like Hurney. Here's the thing you got to think about with Hurney. There's 2 types of GMs. There's the kind of GMs that I'm going to take the guys that I want to put on this team no matter what. And there's guys like Hurney. Hurney drafts people and gets free agents that the coaches want, guys the coaches want to have. Our evaluation of talent with our prior coaches, with that Herney's worked for us, Ron Rivera, and some with Fox, I'm pretty sure, suck. Okay? Period. Matt Rule is going to work because he's a coach. He's not this, I'm an offensive guy, a defensive guy. He's a coach. He can motivate guys. He knows how to get the best out of guys. He understands football.
All right, he's got a part 2 of his comment, of his call. I love this call. And in many ways, we kind of touched on this in the show, that the only way to get a quarterback, the only way to build a franchise is not through a top 5 pick. And that's true. It's just true, man. There's too many teams that have had top 5 picks that don't do it right. There is not enough evidence.
Yeah, but you're saying that you can't do it right. Like, there's one thing I'm saying.
No, and I'm saying is that there is that is not the only way to build the team.
How good did
like the caller said
without their all-star quarterback?
He was a 6th-round pick. He was a 6th-round pick. He was a 6th-round pick. Oh man, you can't use that. No, you can. He was a $1 million acquisition. It's not a good analogy.
If you don't have the quarterback, then you really don't have anything. Look at how much value a player like Cam Newton not only meant to us, but then look at what the difference that Cam Newton was on not being on that field.
The Eagles won with Foles. The Baltimore
but you're
Ravens
talking about
won
the
with
thing
this.
that happens less.
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
That happens way less. The Patrick
Chiefs?
Mahomes.
All right.
And guess
who won
what they
the year
did?
before?
But guess
Who
what
won
the
year
Chiefs
before?
did? The Chiefs moved up to draft their quarterback of the future.
But it was at 12, bro. You can't use him as a top
matter.
5.
They were
Yes,
in
it
the
does.
20s. Yes, it does. You move heaven and earth to get your quarterback. That's what I don't care if anybody agrees with me. That's what you have to do. And this is not even a conversation about Teddy Bridgewater. This is just there are many different ways to build your team.
Oh my God! If you need to go study every Denver Broncos draft.
It don't matter when
they
Denver,
moved.
That's a scare
part
mentality.
Okay. Lost that time. I'm sorry. It's been a while, like I said.
No, it's a realistic one.
It's
what
not.
I was
It's scared.
It's simply that Marty Herney's going to draft the guys and get the guys in that the coaches want to have on the team. He's not the guy that steps on a limb, steps on toes, and overthrows or overpowers a coach. And that's why coaches like him. Okay? Herney is just that person. He's the guy in the position. Yeah, he signs the checks. Yeah, he does. Well, Tepper signs the checks. But yeah, Herney, writes up the contracts and all that stuff. And he has made flaws in the past with the crappy contracts that he gave out. But when you have someone, and you can see that Rule has a vision, and he wants to build this team to that vision. Everybody that we brought in was someone that Matt Rule wanted. Free agent, draft. This draft is going to pan out pretty well. I don't know if it's going to be special, but I liked who we brought in. I love the guys we brought on defense. You plug in a linebacker or something, you can go free agent. I love to see Luke on this thing, but he's done, so it's fine. But free agent, linebacker, maybe a draft, find somebody in the draft. But we can focus more to the offensive side of the ball now moving forward, which the offense is pretty well. It's just, you can see, I guess they say trust the process, you can see the process happening before us. These guys play for Matt Rule, and you can already tell from week to week. I like this guy. He's going to work. He's going to be good. And the whole Trevor stuff, might as well go ahead and stop it because this team is not that bad. All right. Hey, keep pounding. Love what you do every week. I listen. Maybe I'll call more. I hope so.
Man, keep calling.
All right, guys.
Keep calling. Bring in, first of all, thanks for the support. Even just listening, tell a single friend or 5 or 10 about the show. That's a Panthers fan. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the podcast. Let's keep pounding through these calls.
Panther Podcast. What's up, Steve Cavassier?
What's up, G?
Just kidding. This is Blake. What's going on?
He got me for a second. I was like, God, he sounds way lighter.
CK's comments. You're talking about the draft and how Hurney looked good. I don't think it's a coincidence that the first time the draft looks really good is when Matt Rule comes in. I think Matt Rule actually had a little bit to do with this draft, whether Matt Rule wants to take credit for it or not. But, I mean, look at Derek Brown and Jeremy Chin looking on the Panthers' website now. They're talking about how Derek Brown amongst rookies has the most tackles for a loss, and Jeremy Chin leads all rookies in tackles. So, pretty impressive. Even looking at Teddy touchdowns, which I'm not a huge fan of Teddy and pulling for. I'm not a huge fan, but man, I think I could see the rust coming out of his knees when he made that run. Like when he made that cut, looks like you could see little specks of rust come out. But no, I was actually impressed. Pulling for the guy, it's got to be scary taking those runs again after having such a gruesome injury. Last thing I wanted to say is, have you seen the new Rock Hill facility renderings? They just released it today.
God, so beautiful.
I mean, this is like a giga complex. It's amazing. 80-foot ceilings in the indoor practice facility, 2 outdoor places, apartments, shopping. It's going to be an awesome place for concerts, all kinds of cool stuff. It's going to be awesome.
Dude, I want to spend so much money there. All right. So first and foremost, to my comment about Marty Hurney. So I was thinking about this because I know somebody was going to bring this up, and I had a feeling that it was that we really believe that this draft was Marty Hurney or was it Matt Rule, right? And we've been having this conversation, but we've also been blaming Marty Hurney for all the bad moves that we've made this offseason. So in one hand, we cannot continue to give him the benefit of vilify him for moves that we made in the offseason. And then when there is some good moves, we cannot continue to just say, oh, it's Matt Rule that's making the decisions. Exactly. So it's one or the other. And right now, I am of the mind that this organization is working together in a way that it hasn't before, right? And that is Tepper wants something. There's a vision that they have. Matt Rule agrees on that vision, and then they're relaying that message to Marty Hurney, and Marty Hurney was making moves to make that happen with his scouting team, right? So when I look at the draft and I look at the offseason, we're all going to be pissed off about Cam Newton. I don't think there's anybody that's not – I mean, there are going to be people – I think we can all agree we're not happy with that move and then the reasoning that was given behind it. However, we also got Robbie Anderson. We have producing defensive rookies that are actually considered some of the top in the league right now, as far as rookies are concerned. And even, outside of that, I mean, even other than that. And then you look at last year, Brian Burns is doing well. You look at the fact that we got Matt Paradis on a pretty team-friendly deal last year. And yes, he didn't do great that last year, but he's not doing bad this year. I mean, if you look at the moves that he's made, even in the past couple of years, it's not horrible. And we were like, if you look at our offseason last year, it was great on paper. It looked good. We got Bruce Irvin, we got Gerald McCoy, we got Matt Paradis, we got pieces that we thought we needed to set us up for the draft, and it just did not work. And then this year, we're doing looks like we're having some sort of success. And if you cannot give him credit for that, you can't vilify him for any of the moves that he did this offseason either.
I think you can do both because of how you started it, right? So we're doing this thing where we're doing this back and forth for the past few months. Who's making decisions? Is it Matt Rule? Is it Hurney? So it's like, I get what you're saying. You have to be consistent on them. But my thing is this.
You have to be unbiased is what he's trying to really say.
You have to be okay, so let's be unbiased. Is Marty Hurney doing anything that can't be replicated with someone new or someone younger?
I think anybody can. You could say that about every person in the NFL. You could say that about, you could say that about Cam Newton. You could say that
about Christian McCaffrey.
You can say that about everybody.
Yuck.
I think more importantly, Cody, I cannot disagree with you more than I think I ever have on this. You cannot do both. You cannot praise him for the good things and damn him for the bad things. Like you can't. Like how?
And just to clarify on that, what you mean by that is you cannot tell us that he's the reason that Cam Newton's gone.
Right,
then just say he's not, and then say that he is not the reason that we did. Like you can't vilify him and then in the same breath not give him credit.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can vilify him, but also give him credit for the draft at the same time.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And I think the things that he is good at is hitting on the bigger first round players, and we've said that about him. But it's also not like all the other players and all the other moves that didn't pan out for us. Like they just get to be erased too. Like it's one of those things where I maintain no one's going to pick him up if he's fired. It's not like Marty Herney is doing anything for us that couldn't be done by someone else. So yes, are the draft picks that we drafted so far, are they balling out and playing good? Yes. Does that change my mindset on Marty Herney's future with us? No.
What do you think about what do you think about the Eagles GM? Do you think he's a really good GM?
Howie Roseman? Hell yeah. I think
okay. Who was his second round draft pick last year?
This year or last year?
Last year. That had a full season to play.
Well, I don't know. I don't have the
That's what I'm saying is like if you look at history, the first round typically is most successful. You can hit and you can actually have.
All right, this was their 2018 draft was Dallas Goedert, round
he's
2.
He's a tight end. Yep, he's a tight end that's contributed.
Avante Maddox, CB, Josh Sweat or Sweet, Matt Pryor, Jordan Matalata. They went all linemen basically in the end. And then 20
Sweat really had that actually a bad fit though, because that second rounder, Dallas Goedert, the tight end, he is pretty good.
Is he their starting tight end though?
He was till he got hurt. He was, they do 2 tight ends, but he was the more productive. Took him 3 years. Do not draft a tight end in round 1
in the first
ever.
Oh yeah,
ever.
They drafted him as a troll, 100%, and you know why?
Here was
they moved up to draft him. By the way,
this is going to make it a fun conversation. So 2019, one of those guys was on our team, I think, and we already cut him. Maybe he's still up there. First round, Andre Dillard, who they complain about so much, even though. Yeah, but they cry about him. Miles Sanders, again, hurt, but okay. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, wide receiver. Here's the one. I'm pretty sure this guy somehow was on the Panthers, Sharif Miller, defensive end. I'm pretty sure we signed him recently.
Miller? Let's see. I'll find out.
Yeah, for a hot minute.
But my point is
here, he was 4th round. Anyway, here is that those drafts aren't like insanely great.
Let's take a step back and look at our drafts since Marty Herney took over, and who was in the second round of last year.
I can't remember. 2019 Panthers.
Greg Little, who's actually getting praised this year for being a lineman. He was our second round draft pick.
Finally.
Yeah. So,
but by the way, hold on. That's why that Greg Little thing was so weird to me, because even as early as last week, we were shitting on Greg Little, and I could have used Greg Little as an example to say, hey, look what he moved up in the second round to draft, and then Will Greer right after that.
Christian Miller, who sat out this year.
Yeah,
which I don't know how you can do that. But then Jordan
the year before
Scarlett, that's the worst.
You can do that because you get paid.
Let's go the year before that with DJ Moore and Dante Jackson. Both of them quality starters for our team. I mean, I personally, I agree. And then now you have this year, you have Matos, you have Chin. And then, I mean, I just feel like we're not giving him credit in the draft. I think, yes, he hasn't hit on the 7th and 8th round, 5th round. Not many people do. And it's a statistically not a great position. Mm-hmm. I think right now our team has been, as we said, middling. And it's easy to just kind of like say like, oh, this has been shit. But if you compare it to other teams, he's quite honestly not bad.
That's what I've been arguing forever, man. People all the time talking trash about Hurney online, and I'm like, on Twitter especially, I'm like, y'all, look, there are a lot of bad picks, you're right, but at least 40% of the picks he has are pretty good. And I mean, maybe 40 to 50. I mean, he has some pretty good picks. You can point out a whole lot of picks he has that I can't stand at all, and what a horrible pick, but he's really put some good players on his team. Name one GM that hits every round every year.
All those names not matter all of a sudden just because Derek Brown and Jeremy Chin are good. Like we said, there's a list of names of players, and whether it be in free agency or in the draft that he's missed on dating back to forever ago. It's my thing is this. Just like we had to move on from Ron Rivera, and there was that mindset that, oh, well, we can't do any better. Like, that's my mindset with a lot of Panther fans now. They're like, well, he's doing okay in the draft. You might as well stick with him because, well, you never know. We might end up hiring someone worse than it. But I don't think that it's impossible to hire someone who is just as good, if not way better, than what Marty Hurney is doing.
So can you name one GM that you know for a fact has done better that you would think we could hire?
That's available right now?
Yeah, that's available right now. Or actually just any GM at all. Not even that's available. Just if you could sign anybody you wanted to, name one GM that has more success than Marty Hurney and less failure. And I actually want to compare those two when you give me that answer.
Sure. John Lynch.
Okay. I will look at John Lynch's missing hit.
Okay. I'm going to play the next call. What you do?
What's going on, Panda Podcast? C3. So it's your boy, the Black Cat. And, I'm trying to be more composed because I know
it's Brother Herbert.
Cody, he's never going to admit when he's wrong. Or he's going to make some excuse. Oh, it's this and that. And yeah, it is early in the season. So, I mean, it is what it is. But all this hatred he was throwing, and it was hatred because he obviously didn't watch Teddy Bridgewater throughout his career. Teddy Bridgewater has never, ever had a losing record. I think the least record he had was 8-8. So Teddy Bridgewater was going to give us a chance anyway. Now, obviously, we're just 2-2, so I'm not like, yay. I mean, the offense has looked good. I already knew the offense was going to look good. Has some things to get out. What surprised me more is the defense and the way that it's playing. Jeremy Chin, absolute monster out there. The thing that's impressed me the most is we're getting production out of those draft picks early. Derek Brown, the last two games, has been a monster. Freaking in the running. I mean, teams can't just run straight up the gut anymore. Freaking even Pride has been playing solid for a 5th round pick.
Who?
And I am so happy about that and everything. Now, obviously, like I said, we're 2-2. I still think we'll probably finish like 7-9, 8-8. A lot of people are like, oh, boo, blah, blah, blah. I'm not for one of those people that says we're going to tank. There's plenty of quarterbacks that's gotten taken, that haven't gotten taken, the number 1 overall pick, and everything like that. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a bridge quarterback for someone. Or, I know y'all will just flip out on this, but let's say Teddy Bridgewater the next 2 years is getting us in position to win, putting up career numbers, everything like that. He's only 26 years old. I'm just saying, I don't understand what
Teddy's
you have
the quarterback
on him,
of the future.
I see that you just disappear and you don't answer nobody's tweets and all this kind of stuff. And you always want to criticize Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, he did throw a pick. Bad decision.
I don't want to sign Kyle Allen to a multi-year deal.
No.
So, like, here's the thing: is that at the end of the day, is that's a ifs and buts and whats. But you really think that we're gonna be all of a sudden that he's gonna be putting up career numbers? He's gonna be 26 years. Is that it? Like, and then we're gonna be like, oh, Teddy's the answer. That's not my go-to point. That's not my go-to thing here in this conversation.
Can we win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years with Teddy Bridgewater as our quarterback?
Not because of him. Not in spite of him either. Like, it would be, he would, I don't know how to explain it. Is at the very best case, he would not get in the way of us winning a Super Bowl.
Then you have to draft a quarterback.
All right. Next call. It's probably him.
But yeah, he did throw a pick, so that was a bad decision. But he has looked really good the whole time. It's not just these last 2 games. He's looked good. He's had almost a 70%.
He hasn't looked really good.
Oh, he's just jumping off.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. He takes shots. Sometimes he hits, sometimes he doesn't. Guess what? Guess who has one of the best deep ball completions?
You can't say that when he only threw 5.
Teddy Bridgewater, top 5. If you don't believe me, go ahead and go to your
Russell
stats and look it
Wilson
up.
throws like 5 in the first 30 seconds of the game.
And then you can have an argument. Oh, well, he doesn't throw deep that much. Okay, that's fine. This offensive line has been playing their butt off. Robbie Anderson, he's having a career year. DJ Moore, to me personally, has been a little disappointing. I think that I was looking at it as we probably would have 2 number 1 receivers and a really good number 2. Curtis Samuel, he made some amazing catches that
he made
kept the drive going and everything like that. Awesome. But DJ Moore, we got 2 more years with you. So you got to show me something. Last year, I thought that was the stepping stone for you to have a monster year this year. With all the drops and all that kind of stuff, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I just cannot wait to hear Cody. And matter of fact, see this, all of y'all, except for Tony, all of y'all that were just dragging on this team, I just can't wait to hear y'all. Peace out.
I got to pass.
Ain't nobody dragging on this team. We've all been on about Cam, about Teddy, and what he's been. And he is who we say he is. That he's a really good game manager quarterback. I don't know about Brandon's man. Brandon just likes to fight. Brandon just likes to feel like the top dog.
Hey guys, Joey again. I can't believe not Dan Quinn, but Bill O'Brien got fired before Dan Quinn. I mean, usually you don't fire a coach after week 4, but kind of figured Dan Quinn, being a defensive coach with that bad of a defense, would go first. But then again, Bill O'Brien's a jackass. He's an idiot. Anyway, I hope this beat writer we have coming on for the Falcons is any good. I hope she can try to make the Falcons sound like a good team, because right now they're Falcons in all caps. I make what our winning percentage is in straps in a day. I make 500 straps a day. The Falcons, the only time I make equivalent of their winning percentage is when I don't show up to work, which is never. But they don't show up to play, so... But then again, they'll probably get right against us.
Which is always.
2-14, and guess who their 2 wins are going to come against? Us.
No.
You know how that is. We'll be 14-2. The Falcons be 2-14. They only beat us. We only lost to them. We know how that's going to go. Or we'll have the same record, and the Falcons will have like 3 draft pick that's like 3 higher than us. But That's just our luck, okay? There's no reason to dwell on that because why? Anyway, guys. Wow.
All right, next call.
Hey, look, guys. This is the man here. Thank you for taking my call. I'm unsure about this season. I don't know how. I mean, we've won two in a row, but I mean, look at who we played. I mean, they could be 3-0. I mean, like we said, they've been no preseason, nothing. So I don't really know where we're gonna fall.
We're falling forward, bro.
I really don't. I'm still.
That's what we're doing. We're falling forward.
I'm still pushing, man. For me, we take an L next week to the Falcons.
Nope.
I think they bounce back and they beat us.
We getting Dan Quinn fired. That's what we're
by
gonna
a
do.
field goal. And then we got to get together and think about shit, you know? I mean, I'm not in there in the coaching room. None of us are, but we're standing outside here looking in, saying what they should do, but I know I've coached, and I know what it takes to run a football team. And it's hard. It's very hard, especially, if you're a coach, youth football or anything, Pop Warner, when you got parents hollering down your neck, then you know. So imagine that times like probably 100,000. You got fans hollering down your neck. Yeah, you get shit right. So I mean, I really don't know.
Speaking of, thanks for the call. Speaking of fans hollering down their neck, hold on, I found it. Let's see. Here is Matt Rule. This was a great question.
Hated that call.
I know. A great question. I think this was by Justin Hubert. Hubert. He's from WFNZ. This was a tough question. I don't have the question part, but he ultimately said this, is that after the first 2 weeks, the fan base and the media is ready to put you guys up and put you on the guillotine. You know what I'm saying? And then we get 2 wins, and all of a sudden, it's like we can see the vision of the future. And he said he was even guilty of this, like the media is guilty of this, and he asked if it was comical. And this is what Matt Rule had to say about fan reactions, ultimately the C3 Panthers podcast.
Oh, no, I don't think I would never say anyone's comical. I mean, that's part of being a fan. That's part of covering the team, right? Is talking about what might happen, what will happen. I mean, that's part of it. And it's great. You know, I obviously am inside the bubble, right? I'm worried about, like, you know, what time are the guys getting massages today, and are they going to have enough time to get upstairs to practice, to meet? You know, I'm worried about who's banged up from the game yesterday. I don't think we want a coaching staff that's worried about what people are saying, you know, because then we'll be kind of, you know, flying in the wind, you know. I'm going to just keep trying every week to make sure our team's better every week. And, you know, hopefully I have a chance to coach here for a long time, and that, you know, in a year from now, we're better than we are today. And the only way to do that is to make sure that next week we're better than we are today. Right. So I just take each day one day at a time. But I mean, I love fans because they're why we get to do what we do. And I'm a fan of other sports. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're asking me about basketball or soccer or baseball, then, you know, then I have 100 opinions, you know, and I'm not in the bubble. But for this thing, I mean, I'm inside, and I don't hear much else until you say that, you know, and I do know that we have a great fan base and they deserve to have a winner and they want to have a winner. So we're just going to try to win every week, try to go 1-0 every week. And some weeks we'll do it like we did last week. And hopefully everyone's happy when we do.
If someone could ask you a question and then you answered it and then you got to review the transcript of your answer and make any changes that you wanted to, and you said, nah, I'm good, it's clean. That's the transcript right there. He basically said all the right shit. It's like, man, fans get to act like this and we get the game because of them. We have to just look inside. We can't worry about that. And not because it doesn't matter, but because we got to be worrying about shit that does matter. It's so perfect. It's annoying.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Good for him.
Real quick, I got the list right here. Are y'all ready to hear this?
Is this the John Lynch one?
This is the John Lynch versus Hurney list.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to go through John Lynch's big name picks that I've seen going through all the picks he's had so far. Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuels, Javon Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, C.J. Beathard, and George Kittle, excuse me. Are there any big ones that I'm missing?
Yeah, Fred Warner. Fred Warner has been a really good linebacker.
Let me add Fred Warner.
And can we say this, that those are pretty damn awesome?
Those are awesome picks.
Those are ridiculously awesome.
Can I go?
Who's the worst name on that list? Kinlaw?
Probably Reuben Foster, just based on his injury history. Even though he was a great
because he got ruined by the
yeah.
internet and the cancel culture, where they got him kicked out because his girlfriend accused him of domestic violence, where she just made it up, and then he lost his job and his life, and then all of that. But okay,
can I go over what Hurney's put on the Carolina Panthers real quick?
Sure.
Okay. Julius Peppers, Will Witherspoon, Jordan Gross, Ricky Manning Jr., Deion Branch, Gamble, Travell Wharton, Thomas Davis, D'Angelo Williams, Richard Marshall, John Beeson, Ryan Khalil, Chris Johnson, Jonathan Stewart, Charles Godfrey, Dan Connor, Jeff Schwartz, Everett Brown, Captain Munderland, Greg Hardy, Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, Josh Norman, DJ Moore, Dante Jackson, Brian Burns, and all the picks he had this year. So I think that
it's
Hurney
also
has
like a
built
20-year sample set versus
but I
a
think
4-year sample set.
Panthers culture over the last 20 years is what I'm saying. So I mean, every success we've had has been by somebody that he's picked. These guys are big name guys that mean a lot to our franchise.
Not every success, and I feel like half of those names you mentioned were guys that were of note, but were never obviously not the big names. But a lot of those guys weren't great, and then and the jury's still out on a lot. Listen. This is the only point that I'm making. Marty Hurney is not doing anything for us that cannot be replicated by someone else. And he has picked good players. That is literally the one thing that he has done a good job on. But another thing that GM has to do is pick your doctors. And look how bad Vermillion has been as a doctor for us for the past few years and mismanaging injuries and all this stuff. They are literally the manager of your whole organization. I want someone who is more competent and confident in that role than Hurney.
All right, that's the C3 Panthers podcast. We got to get some ice up picks in. Who you got winning this week, Cody? We haven't done our picks all season, which annoys me. But
I think like 2 weeks. We did the first couple weeks, I think, but then we got to give up on the team.
You did.
I did. You're right.
I'm picking Carolina. I think we'll put up 30 or more.
I have no reason to pick Atlanta.
Yeah.
There's only one reason to pick Atlanta, and that is because you don't believe that they can go 0-5.
I think
with a prolific offense. They have a prolific offense that has put up points all season.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they can't be that bad. Well, you know what? The Panthers have given us more good tape. So I'm going Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I'll take Carolina 37, Atlanta 34.
I'm going to say Carolina 31, Atlanta 28.
All right. So we both have 3 points. 3-point margin.
Let's ice some fools up. Oh, no Nancy Pelosi. She's up there from before. Oh, that was when she did the Sunday. Yeah, good morning. Anyway. All right, ice up segment where we tell someone to toughen up, to get it together, to get their mind right. Ooh, my ice up pick this week. Actually, you guys got one ready in the hole? I had one, and then it just fleeted.
Yeah, I got one. Mine's pretty simple. I'm icing up Colin Cowherd. The guy has been a staunch critic of Cam Newton, damn near his entire career here in Carolina. He's the type of guy that whenever Cam Newton's playing good, he loves him some Cam Newton. But whenever he's playing bad, or more importantly, whenever he is hurt, Cam Newton's not a good leader. They're going to move on from him. Cam Newton's not a drop back quarterback, blah, blah, blah. The other day, I think it was, it might have been even today. It was today. He put out a segment saying that the Patriots would have absolutely beaten the Chiefs if Cam Newton was on the field.
Which is true. That is true because Hoyer could be our ice up pick for being so sucky. It's like the worst thing.
And by
like
the way,
Cam just had to give them one touchdown and they would have won that game.
And by the way, look how good the Patriots have looked. And then when your starting quarterback goes down, all of a sudden your team looks like it has not a chance in hell.
It is shitty though that their defense played the best game of the season for them last night.
They were pick six away
they
from
really
losing that game,
put it on. You know what I'm saying? The defense played well, and they hadn't all season.
But how about this though? If you're a Patriot fan, you probably feel like, all right, well, we lost that game because we didn't have Cam. Apparently, he's asymptomatic too. He's going to return back. And by the way, they play Denver next.
Is he going to play that game? Tell me, do you think he'll play that game, which is is Sunday?
So they say as long as he is still asymptomatic and gets 2 negative tests, they say he will be able to play.
Yes, I need him for my fantasy team. All right, Greg, do you got your? All right, so who you say it again for the end? Who you got?
Colin Cowherd, ice up.
Yeah, ice up Colin Cowherd. Seriously, I'm the same way. I listen to a show sometimes, but sometimes I can't stand it, dude. That guy's crazy. I didn't have one coming in tonight, but I can make one up real quick. I would say last Tuesday we had the debate, and it was a debacle. It was like watching 2 kids argue. So I'll ice up both the presidential candidates. One of those 2 guys is going to be our president next. So
how sad, huh?
Hurrah, hurrah. One of those 2 guys is going to be our president next. So
best country
I hope you're
in the
looking
world.
forward to it in the future. Grow my own crops, make sure you can take care of yourself. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I got you. All right, so my ice up pick goes to Visa. And I didn't have ice up, but I wrote one down last night. I'm glad. So sometimes I always forget, so I try to jot them down. I was watching Monday Night Football, and Visa is 100% taking advantage of the Black Lives Matter and the COVID opportunity to be like, we're this company that's there promoting equality, promoting this and this, Visa, giving you bullshit. Y'all are using, I'm not saying that, first of all, I'm not saying Visa is a terrible company. Like, they make my life better because I use it all the time, right? But I do find it a little opportunistic for you to brand ethicalness.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right term, but they're branding it. And it's just like this. Let's talk about people you hate and how we're not them. And let's talk about people you love. Visa, branding. No, is your ass is a company that has made the world better, I'm sure, for small companies, small businesses, not business. But y'all making big ass money. Shut up. Taking advantage of this. I see it and I look at that and I go, like my wife. My wife looked over at me and she said, good news. We use MasterCard. So screw y'all. Ice Up is like, I want to hear your voice before, not after.
Yeah.
Ice Up.
Good one.
All right. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Live here Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. at cat_Chronicles on Twitter. Picking with the Professor drops tomorrow night, as well as I'll be scouting the Falcons with Aaron Freeman for FalcFans.com as well. Locked on Falcons. I saw, Cody, another episode of the Cripple Connection was up. You guys were looking at a video, or at least there was one on my YouTube feed. So how can they find you on Twitter and the Cripple Connection itself?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. You can tell me how much you hate my hot takes about the Panthers. Every Saturday, me and my man Jeffrey do the Cripple Connection podcast on my YouTube channel, where we talk about the video game industry and everything going on in video games and new consoles and games and stuff coming out. And we try and keep everyone up to date. And that's about it. Oh, and tomorrow, brand new mock draft on drafttech.com with first round comment for the Panthers written by yours truly.
Go ahead and get it in there, Greg. Tell them how they can find those mini podcasts. Those many MANY podcasts.
I hear. You can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. It's my only form of social media, but my DMs are open and I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything. I like having a good debate about sports or comics or anything of that nature. And then check out the Geek Ultimate Alliance Networks. You can find all my shows are on there. I'm on quite a bit of stuff. So usually about 5 days a week, you can find me talking about something.
Wonderful. All right, Panther fans, you heard it. 2 hours and 50 minutes of the latest Panthers talk, opinions, debates. Smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the show. 252-228.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.